All right, so it is said that it has started streaming. It looks like we are live on on YouTube. All right. What do I need to do? I should probably tell everybody in like Discord and stuff that we're live. For anyone who's maybe watching the VOD or is the fastest clicker in the content space on the channel, I am in a brand new place, first time streaming in here, so I am trying to gather my bearings. I think I've got a lot of things set, but this was very much put together very quickly this morning. So 1 second, I'm going to be telling everyone that we're live. And I don't, my second monitor is like my external computer right now. So reading chat and whatnot is not as easy. So streaming. Okay, so both are live right now. Both are live. I need the link to both sides. Feel free to say hi in the chat as well as you're coming in. Appreciate everybody coming by. I was going to say I should have prepared for this a little bit better, but this is also like an odd time. Like we have not really ever streamed at this time. Let's see. Live right now in new studio. Come hang out. Okay, let me... Every time I get a notification too, I think it's like maybe I disconnected or something like that. It kind of freaks me out. All right. Let me just minimize that then because I don't think I need that anymore. I probably need to tell Twitter, yo, what up, Petritos? How are you, friend? Brand new studio chat. For anyone who does not know, we are in a brand new studio. It's called Tier 1 Las Vegas. It's a brand new card shop that's opened up. A couple of my buddies came together and opened up a card shop in Las Vegas, and they've got me a little studio here. So this is where we're going to be streaming of most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. So this was because I just got back into Las Vegas from the 2 weeks hanging out at the family. This was a scramble for me to put it together this morning. I'm just going to tell Twitter real quick before we really get going. And then below. Okay. All right, so I got all those up. I can there. Yo, what up, Blinks? How are you? I don't need to send it to you. You could just come to the store. Well, you can't. The doors are locked right now. I literally will not let you in. I don't know what your main decks are. Oh, purple Katakuri, purple black Luffy, green Jinbei. Purple black Luffy, definitely the best of those three. I'm trying to figure out how I want this camera, and it's killing me. Purple black Luffy, definitely the best of the three. Purple Katakuri really was not present at all. I don't really think I saw very many purple Katakuris at all in Las Vegas, which was kind of surprising to me. Well, actually, maybe not that surprising, I guess. Talk about the drama this weekend in Vegas Regionals. I wasn't there for the drama, so I can't comment on it. if I did comment on it, it would be out of bad faith, I feel like. And I would only want to comment on drama that is when I know the full situation, when I know the full scenario. That's why I don't comment on drama really at all. But I do think that people that are more knowledgeable than me on the situation and maybe have a little bit more insight of what happened should talk about it. Because especially if it's a problem, it should be talked about. Can I get rid of this little thing up here? No, I don't think I can. Okay. So chat, the plan is today. Oh, I didn't even get the other chair. That's fine. The plan is today we're going to be commenting Hiroshima Championships because I was away back home for a couple weeks and also played in the Vegas Regional right just the other day on Saturday. I was way too tired to really do this. So I'm a little bit behind, I know, but that's just what happens when you travel and stuff. So we're going to be commenting Hiroshima, and then if we have time after that, I've also got the Hong Kong 1-on-1 and 3v3 championships that we can watch as well. I know that these say that I've watched all of them, but I haven't actually watched any of it, I promise. I was just kind of like peeking through a lot of the games just to see like what some of the more popular decks were for the thumbnail this morning. So, chat, hope everybody's having a good day. What's going on? Was there a blue-yellow Nami at the regionals? No Boba, no life. I don't actually know if there was one. Eggman Events. I think he posted. I didn't see too many of them at the Vegas regional, but this is the Vegas regional. No blue-yellow Nami in the top. There wasn't any in Dublin either. None in Dublin. None in Oviedo. Not even an Eggman's half-case event. So, yeah, all the majors right now, there's been no blue-yellow Nami, which is actually quite surprising, I feel like, because blue-yellow Nami had a really good showcase in the Japan Championships the last couple weeks. So I was a little surprised about that. Yo, Dash Red, how are you? I did all right. I mean, I know 6-4 is nothing to really, like, go crazy about, right? Because you don't get prizing, you didn't top or anything like that. But I didn't practice for 2 weeks, right? I hadn't played One Piece at all in the last 2 weeks, and I took Green Yellow Law, which is a difficult deck to play, but also I had not really played Green Yellow Law before. So I was pretty proud of myself for going 6-4, especially because I started out 5-2. I put myself in a really good position at 5-2, but then I blew the next 2 rounds, and then I was like, 5-4. So I did all right. I can't complain, Dash Red. Pokemon when? Jesus, we will have Pokemon, but Pokemon on YouTube at least. Pokemon on YouTube will be primarily the Metapod podcast. If you don't know the Metapod podcast, it's a show that I've been doing the last couple years. Link is in the description below, I believe, if you want a link to that. We do have a YouTube channel that you can watch from. Yo, what up, random ones? How are you? Yeah, I mean, I can't complain too much about 6-4 on a deck that I've never played before. The coolest thing, though, is I went 5-0 combined against blue-purple and green-purple Luffys. So, honestly, like, in my opinion, the 2 decks to beat in the format, like, if I had to choose which 2 decks I wanted to beat in this format for a tournament, I would choose green-purple Luffy and blue-purple Luffy 10 times out of 10. And I would have told you that before the regional. I would have told you that after the regional. But I'm super proud of myself for beating those 2 decks. Oh, I'll be here Friday nights at Tier 1, Jesus. I'll be here. I actually have my Pokemon deck on me right now. But Saber Master, what's good? How was your Vegas experience? It's pretty good. I mean, I really liked the Vegas Regional. I think they did well conducting it. It felt fun. It felt fast. I'm sure Maybe it was fast. I don't. It felt fast to me, and it felt pretty smooth overall. But I didn't get in like off of waitlist or anything like that. I got in through the first wave of signups. So signups for me were probably a lot easier than a lot of other people on waitlist. And I didn't do like anything extracurricular in Vegas or anything like that because I live here. And I was super tired, but all right. Chat, this live stream, so I'm going to tell you guys this too. For most all the Japanese championships that we do here on the channel, I am probably going to live stream all of them from now on instead of just doing what I've been doing. I'm still going to be doing what I've been doing, but I'm going to live stream these kind of like how I'm doing right now, except I'm going to try to do them live, like as the event is going on, as the live stream's going on. I'm also going to be doing a live stream. So yes, on the West Coast time, I'm going to be up at 2:30, 3 o'clock, doing these events, which I'm ready for, to be honest. But I'm going to be doing these live in the future, and then I will take up those different rounds, right? If you prefer to watch them one by one, or, if you can't stay up all night, you can watch the VOD later, or as the videos come out, right, you can watch those games. I'll cut them up, put the English card on the screen, as I always do and stuff like that. So like live streams, I won't be able to showcase the card or anything, but when it comes to the videos that I'll post later of the individual rounds, I'll do that same thing as usual where I post the rounds. So that's how we're going to be doing it from now on, and that's going to be kind of the thing that I want to try to do, right? I'm trying to spice it up a little bit. I stay aware of what everyone's doing and things like that, and I think this is kind of the next step that I need to take on this, so appreciate everybody's support in here. So anytime that there's one of these Japan championships, know that I'm going to be live, unless I say otherwise, which I'll let you guys know in either Discord or the YouTube community section, things of that nature. No, yeah, the coverage was awesome. I mean, Brian and Eggman do an excellent job. Android and Eggman, they do awesome, and they're a wonderful part of the community. I'm always happy when, especially like Eggman is doing an event, because I know it's going to be well. Yeah, with time, especially because the store is new. Since the store is new, it'll grow within time. Yo, what up, Carlos? How are you doing? How are you doing? Chat, thank you so much for being here. I've just realized that I don't have any sort of way to give thanks, or I have no knowledge of when people follow, subscribe, anything of that nature. So I need to pull up a couple things on my computer. That's a program goal. I don't need to do that right now. Need to log into Stream Elements real quick. But I heard that this tournament was really interesting, chat, this Hiroshima Championship. So I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see this go down. I think that this is this account. Yes, it is. There we go on this login, so I can tell you all thank you for the things that you're doing while on the stream. Okay. And then in the future as well, I might change up this layout to like showcase more of like chat and different things like that. But right now it's just kind of bare bones. But chat, for anyone who does not know, I don't think it's actually on the pin message of YouTube, but on Twitch, right? It is the pin message on YouTube, but on Twitch, you could do !T1 chat. That is the store, that is the group that is sponsoring us, and so you can go ahead and you can buy some singles off of their TCG player site to help out the store. They don't have a full-fledged website as of yet, but they're working towards that. The store is brand new, opened up within the last month. So it's one of my favorites. I love the guys that work here. But chat, we're going to go into this then. We're going to talk about the meta share first of this tournament, the overall meta share of the Hiroshima Championships. I'm going to full screen this as well. Let me also turn off annotations, get it in that HD quality, and we should be good to go. So don't think it surprises anybody that the top two decks in the room, right? Blue Purple Luffy at 21.1% and Green Zoro from OP12 at 16.5%, right? We have talked about the last couple championships. We have talked about the last couple weeks, how these two are like the best decks in format, right? Definitely the most populous decks. We've seen this time and time again. And through this, like 3 through 6 has kind of rotated on what is the most populous, what are the best decks coming in. The third most populous deck, actually really surprising to me and maybe to a couple other people, is Kuzan, right? OP12 Kuzan being the third most populous deck. I would have thought maybe that it was like Rayleigh or Green Purple Luffy, right? Because we've seen really good appearances from those two decks in these championships. But no, Kuzan just really a mainstay, and people like really love this deck. And I've watched some videos of it too, of this deck be piloted, and it's just actually really consistent, really good, right? Just being able to constantly draw cards, constantly being able to cycle cards. 6% right behind it in the fourth most populous spot. That is Green Purple Luffy. Rounding out the top 5 is Rayleigh, right? OP12 Red Rayleigh. And then after that, 4.6% is Bonnie, right? Bonnie being a nice counter to like Blue Purple Luffy and also potentially to Zoro. I would imagine that it has maybe a decent matchup into Zoro, or at least, you know, a fair matchup into Zoro. I actually don't know how that one goes. Maybe we'll see it today. 3.7% is Blue Yellow Nami. We've got Red Green Smoker in 2.7%. Lucci is 2.7% as well. Green Yellow Law at 2.6%. And then out of this tournament, 28.2% is this other category. So percentages that are pretty small, not really worth putting on, but the most populous, the 8 most populous of them all. You've got Zoro right here, OP01 Zoro. You've got Shanks right here, OP09 Shanks. This is Kobe, OP12 Kobe. Blue Nami, which ended up winning the championships the other week, if you saw that. You got Usopp here, Koala, Calgara, and Anel rounding out this like other category. Armando, I'm not actually sure how many players there are in this tournament. I don't think it's something that they've said in this, or at least I don't remember seeing it anywhere, how many players are actually in this tournament. They might have said it like in the stream, and I just don't know because I don't know fluent Japanese, and I'm not like listening to the whole thing as if, you know, this is actually live. But usually Japan championships are huge. Usually they are bigger in my, at least from what I've seen, they're bigger typically than the different like 1024 regionals that we have, because Japan championships are usually just in, I feel like most card games like Pokemon and One Piece, just bigger than the US ones that happen, even though the US ones are pretty big. Yeah, I don't know. If I had that answer, I would tell you though. Let's see. All right, so let's see what our top 8 is in this. Ooh. All right, so this is the top 16, actually. I said top 8 earlier, but the top 16 from this Hiroshima tournament. You've got Blue Purple Luffy at 5 and Green Purple Luffy at 4. These have kind of been, for the most part, the like top 2 most populous when we get to top cuts. Sometimes it changes, you know, Green Zoro was dominant in one of them. It just all depends on what the meta is shaping around and what the meta looks like. But 9 of the top 16 spots being those 2 decks alone may not surprise a lot of people. And a lot of one-ofs in this top cut. You've got Red Green Smoker, Bonnie, Green Zoro, green yellow Law coming back in another one. We've got Marshall D. Teach and also Quito. Who is Quito? Kido. Oh, Kid. Eustace Captain Kid. I was reading this as a to. This is a do, actually. And then this is Roofy. Who just did that? I heard an alert go off. Who just did that? Yo, Marty. Do you mind turning your mic up a little bit, please? Yeah, I can definitely do that. Thank you so much for the super chat as well. And this is what I mean by like the growing pains. I got to figure out how to get this as best as possible. Let's see. Gain. I can turn the gain up a little bit. I turned it up from 30 to, or 35. Let's go to 41 to start out with. Because I think I also have a gain on the OBS as well. Chat, let me know if that's way too loud, if I'm like clipping or anything like that. Marty, hope you're having a good day, though. Thank you again so much for the $2 super chat. Oh, no, you're good, Marty. You're good. Thank you, William. Appreciate it. I'll keep it right here. Sounds good. Thank you, Stream Mako. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, friend. Thank you guys for the support. Let's see. Also, that caught me off guard. I don't know if I've had super chats before. Mostly because we don't stream too often. We'll be streaming a lot more regularly now. But yeah, this top 8 is definitely... Wait, hold on. Wait, what is this one? Rayleigh? This is Rayleigh. This is Silver's Rayleigh right here. Silver's Rayleigh. So, saying again this one because I have to translate it, hear it from myself, and then also figure out what leader it is. 1 Silver's Rayleigh, 1 Red Green Smoker, 1 Bonnie, 1 Green Zoro, 1 Green Yellow Law, 1 Teach, and 1 Eustace Captain Kid. So, looks like this first round is going to be Green Purple Luffy versus Eustace Captain Kid. Gonna definitely be an interesting one, right? Green Purple Luffy being a, whoa, don't need that audio on. Green Purple Luffy going to be a 6K leader, right, for most of this game. But Kid, right, having access to something like 8-cost Kid to be able to burn some life, some different removal cards, right, to maybe get Sanji Pudding on the field or anything like that. And plenty of Dawn to work with as well on the swings. I'm going to also pull up some sample deck lists so then I know exactly what cards are in the... whoa, my gosh. Holy smokes, that was loud. Who did that? Yo, Tempest, thank you so much for the prime 2 months of that. Thank you, friend. I got to get used to these YouTube and Twitch notifications. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. I got to pull up some sample deck lists so then I can get the translations of cards for you guys. So then I don't say anything off. Let's see. Eustace Captain Kid. Let's pull up this Green Purple Luffy right here. All right. So now, Eustace Captain Kid. This one's going to be interesting if you do not recall this leader, because I will say it's not one of the most populous leaders in the format right now. At the end of your turn, you're going to be able to flip over one of your life cards, and if you do, you can set up to one of your 3 to 8 cost Supernova characters as active and then give it blocker for the or until the end of the opponent's next turn. So really any Supernova character that you're playing from the 3 to 8 range is essentially going to be a blocker on the field, right? It really combos well with something like Basil Hawkins, that 4 cost, to be able to not only give it blocker, but also that on KO effect. So going to be really interesting to see how this goes. And Protons, thank you so much for the prime as well. Appreciate it, Protons. Chat, thank you so much for the subscriptions and whatnot. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody's having a good day. Looking at the Eustace Captain Kid's hand, right, it's going to be 2 7-cost laws, a Searcher Luffy, a Gum Gum Pistol Redhawk in the hand. Going to be nice for potential removal as well as some counter, and that 4-cost Basil Hawkins that I was talking about earlier. The Gum Gum Pistol Redhawk is actually so nice within this matchup specifically because if you've played against Green Purple Luffy a lot and maybe you have some removal aspects, the Merry-Go stage boosting up the Sanji Pudding to a 7-cost really puts it out of range of a lot of different effects. So because the Gum Gum Pistol Redhawk KOs an original 5-cost or less, it's going to be really nice to get that out of the way. Couple cards in here in the Green Purple Luffy's hand. You start off with the Merry-Go stage. Going to be nice to start out, replace itself in the hand. You've got Nami as well to be able to do a little bit of searching, and a Sanji Pudding, the lifeblood of the deck. But also you have the Demonic 9-Sword style Osura Dead Man's Game card on top of that, right? Is going to be really nice for an endgame. It's kind of like a mini Hody Jones in an event. Or you can use it as 3,000 counter for the battle. So, going to be really curious to see how this matchup goes. I don't know how it is usually, but I'm sure the yellow kid has practiced this a lot as they're going first. They're on the odd curve. So, going to be starting out and using that Luffy character right there. That 1-drop Luffy is going to look at that top 5 for a Supernova and add it to the hand. Going to maybe be looking for a little bit of counter, maybe another character that they can play in the coming turns. That 8-cost kid looks like something that they're going to want to keep an eye on, right? Is going to have that burn factor that they can utilize, as well as that draw 1, trash 1 filter effect in the late stages of the game. Definitely one of the better cards of this deck to grab, and you want to make sure you got one in the hand. The Green Purple Luffy does have a little bit that they can play with right now, right? Starting off with that Merry-Go stage and drawing 1, and then maybe ending it off either with a Nami. Oh, they have a couple different options. They could use the 1-cost Searcher event. They can use the Nami, and it looks like opting for the Nami on this. Just looking at the top 5, right? The Searcher event only being able to draw or look at the top 3 cards. So the Nami looks at 2 more and grabs a Sanji Pudding, right? 2 of them in the hand. Going to be able to play them back-to-back turns. Going to set yourself up in a really good position, I think. The kid now on 3 Dawn doesn't really have too much that they can utilize. Is just going to start out with a 5K swing and take that life potential trigger at this point. Wonder what it could be. The different triggers that you could have in this list, right? Because the Monix 9-Sword style doesn't. It could be something like an Electrical Luna. It could be a different removal event. I'm trying to see what that was. It looks like a Gum Gum Jet Gatling, right, being able to potentially ramp. So opting not to use that right now, just kind of saving that counter event. And the kid going in with a 5K swing on the Luffy, right? It doesn't have anything to really play down, so you might as well just get 2 pokes if you can. And so is going to be starting out with a battle of the 1-drops potentially. Thinking about swinging 2,000 at the Luffy. Might attach 1, to be honest. Or maybe not. I was going to say you might be able to attach 1 on this Nami. Maybe swing 3. I don't know why you would, to be honest, after saying that out loud. But anyways, is going to go in. That's a Zoro Juro SP on that 1-drop Searcher right there. So that's going to be nice to get rid or to be able to do a little bit of searching, although you can't really right now at this point because you use that 1 Dawn. Does take a 5K swing and does get that life to start and is just going to be on the aggression with this Nami and swing at lead. Just going to say, you know what? We're in a position now that I don't need to really battle your 1-drop Luffy, right? You're going to be on a curve to where you're going to be playing Basil Hawkins. You're going to be playing 7-cost Law, 8-cost Kid, using up a ton of your Dawn. So I don't expect this Luffy to be doing any poke damage anymore. So I'm going to get the value of my Nami now and try to go at life, right? And so does counter out with that Scratchman Pooh. And they start out now battling the character, getting rid of that Nami off the field to not do any more potential poke damage, although I don't expect it too much, but just gets it off the field. And now swings 5,000 power. So thinking about this 5,000 power now, I think you probably want to counter out of this one, right? But you don't really have anything good to counter out. So, okay, taking it, don't want to give up that 2K. A lot of either brick cards like the Sanji Pudding or Merry Go, or just counter events in hand. So starts off with that Luffy. Let's see what's in the top 5 right here. Gefix, I think Kid is viable in OP11. I don't think it's the best deck, but and I don't think it's one that you should expect to face more than twice at a regional, but I do think it's viable. I know some pretty good Yellow Kid pilots. Yellow Kid pirate pilots. Say that 5 times fast, chat. So after grabbing that card off of that top, that Scratchman Apu does go ahead with the rest of the Dawn, plays that one guy, the Basil Hawkins, that's his name. Interesting not using the leader effect, right, to be able to just give that guy blocker. I know that there's oftentimes a lot of resting effects and things like that that you can utilize within this Luffy deck. So maybe just saying, I don't want to reveal what that top life is in this matchup right now. And so goes ahead after playing that Sanji Pudding, uses the leader effect, is going to get 1 Dawn back after restanding the Dawn and goes back to 4. Now the leader is 6,000 power. We could go in with the Zoro Juro at this point. I think he's just trying to make sure that he got all the Dawn correct. I think he maybe is thinking that he put too much Dawn back at this point. So just clarifying with the judges right now if he should have 5 Dawn in total, if he should have 6 Dawn in total, right? So they're kind of rewinding it back. Did go ahead. You got to make sure that you get this all in sequence. So he does have 1 rested Dawn extra. Yeah, you got to make sure that you do that. So now swings 6, goes ahead, takes that life, and then Zoro Juro coming down on here is going to go ahead and look at the top 5 for a Straw Hat Crew purple card in there. So a couple different options. It looks like there's a Luffy Taro in here and also the secret rare Luffy, but goes ahead and grabs a Frankie instead. Says, you know what? I don't have a lot of counter in hand. I need a little bit of counter, right, on these 1K, 2K bodies to be able to utilize, because outside of the Gum Gum Jet Gatling, right, a lot of these things just don't have counter on them. The ads play next to the video instead of over the video. I actually don't know what that means, Josh, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're enjoying it at that point. I had to like pause and read that real quick to be able to understand what was going on, what you said. But I appreciate it. I hope you're having a good day, Fred. Thank you. Thank you. Yo, what up, Domo? All right, so playing that 7 cost law right there. And so the 7 cost law, going to be able to put a supernova character into the life. It's going to be that Capone Beige. Capone Beige, a really good card in a lot of different matchups. One of the better cards coming out of OP11 for these yellow decks, but not really one that has as much impact within this matchup, right? And so after countering out of that swing, is going to go ahead and use leader effect, put blocker on that Basil Hawkins, and passes off the turn. Since they wanted to swing with lead, doesn't go ahead and swing with that Hawkins, because remember, the green purple Luffy was a 6,000 power leader. And so now on this turn is going to start out with Merry Go. So Merry Go is going to boost this Sanji Pudding, right? Sometimes a lot of yellow decks have certain KO effects, right, on the triggers. So just making sure that this Sanji Pudding kind of a little bit out of the way on that right now. And they may just go ahead and play over it as well. So want to get that effect going. So goes ahead and does Sanji Pudding, and because of the Dawn totals, is going to draw a card. Now uses leader effect. So remember, put 2 Dawn back on your leader effect, restand 2 active Dawn, and then for each Sanji Pudding, you get to bring 1 active Dawn back. The way that this deck is so good, right, especially if you get 2 Sanji Puddings on the field, is you actually get a ramp effect within this, right? Or in a sense, you don't actually lose out on Dawn, right? You put 2 Dawn back, you get 2 Dawn back through the Sanji Puddings, and then as well with the stage, going to go ahead and draw a card. Does find a 2K off of it, so did get in a really good spot because of that, right? Plenty of more counter in the hand from the last couple turns, and then boosts up that other Sanji Pudding. So both Sanji Puddings, right? 7 cost heading into the opponent's next turn. You've got 5 Dawn left, really thinking about what they want to do. Not sure if they want to go ahead and attach some, maybe swing. Can't play that 6 cost Secret Rare Luffy at this point, but looks like is going to go ahead and play the 3rd stage down onto the field. Is going to draw, I think that was another Gum Gum Jet Gatling right there. So is going to +2 across the board. Everything right now is +2. And so the the Zorojuro is going to be a 6 cost. So now swinging 6 is going to be a 2K counter. So swinging 6 and countering out 2K is going to be an easy out to 7. That's that Trafalgar Law promo that we don't have yet. And now with this Basil Hawkins block is going to burn a life, is going to be Zorojuro. So honestly, out of the potential life that you could burn right there, not a bad one to burn. And so now the Sanji Pudding going ahead and swinging 7,000 power is going to take that life and then passes off the turn with the 4. Doesn't really have anything to do with the 4. So yeah, this championship chat is not live. I just haven't personally watched it yet. Yeah, the commentary is live though, Jominic. Also, how are you doing today, Jominic? But yeah, this tournament's not live. I just wanted this live stream to be, one, getting some things set up in the new studio so that I know exactly how it goes. But also, I wanted to watch this finally because I wanted also this tournament to exist on the channel. I was a little bit too busy this weekend with traveling in the Vegas regional to be able to get that done, but sorry, I was clearing out something on this. I was a little bit too busy to get that done over the weekend because this did already happen, but I haven't seen it yet, and I want to get it on the channel, you know, because I do all of these, so I wanted to watch it, and I wanted to try live streaming it in a sense. It's not fully live because this tournament isn't live, but my commentary is live at least. But yeah, this is the beginning. Well, this is like mid-game now of the match. All right, so drawing 4 turn is going to be at 9 Dawn. Now that Eustace Captain Kid is going to be active on that guy, right? That Eustace Captain Kid is going to be able to burn a life card, put the opponent at 0, and really put him on the ropes, right? Especially with these different swings that can be coming in and being able to make a 7 cost kid, or I'm sorry, a 7 cost Law or 8 cost kid a blocker. So is going to go ahead and burn that life, is going to rest that guy to get that burn. It's going to be a Sanji Pudding, so both of the cards that were burned in that life going to be bricks anyways. And so now a 9,000 power swing coming in at this leader. And so 9,000 power could go ahead and use Gum Gum Giant right at this point because Gum Gum Giant would get you to 10,000 power and out of this swing. Put 2 Dawn back and trash another card from hand. Probably going to be one of these brick cards, I would imagine. I mean, Demonic 9-Sword style could be one, but goes for the Jet Gatling. That's really interesting in my opinion that you would go for the Jet Gatling at this point to discard, especially with a couple different things in hand. But I think they're worried about the blocker, maybe going to try to use that Demonic 9-Sword style Asura to be able to rest the blockers that Kid can constantly get. And so now on the 6K swing is just going to use the end of turn effect after countering out and make a character blocker, is going to opt for that Kid being a 9 cost, and then at the end of turn that Kid effect is going to draw 1, trash 1. Plenty of 2Ks in hand with the Zeus and also the X-Drake, and then a couple other counter cards with the Scratchman of Poos and the Luffy. Oh, pitches the Red Hawk, though, at that. Doesn't want that Red Hawk anymore. And so now on the turn is going to go into a green, purple Luffy. Too many Luffys in format. Finds a Luffy Taro on the draw. So Luffy Taro not really going to help you out at this point, right? You did get to use Gum Gum Giant last turn, and they were able to counter out of that. Plenty of counter. So now swing 7,000 power, add kid, takes that first life and another 7,000 power, right? 7,000 power, a pretty good number in this matchup, I think, if you're looking to have swings go in, because it either forces 2K, 1K, right? Or maybe one of those counter events, which you do not have on there. So especially when you don't see one done, you really want to try to poke and force that 2K, 1K on the 5,000 power leader. Maybe get them to block as well. It does take that life. It's another Zeus. Plenty of counter in the hand at this point as another 7,000 counter or 7,000 power swing comes in. Gets a block on the kid and maybe thinking about using the 6-drop Luffy, just try to get a bunch of swings, but no, goes in with the Sanji right there because you were more than two or more Dawn behind in your turn. The Sanji coming down is going to be able to be played for a 3 cost, and then using your leader effect, you actually get the Dawn all back, right, in terms of active, because you attached one to swing, right, with the Zoro drawer at the beginning, and then you had 3 rested, ramp, or put 2 back, and then bring 2 back up before you ramp back up 2. So uses that going merry stage to boost up the Sanji, right? I like the boost up on the Sanji because you need the Sanji to be able to be on the field, right? If it gets KO'd through an effect, that's bad news bears for you, but attaches the one, is going to swing 9,000 power now at leader, and so 9,000 power is going to take this final life, and then with the 3 plays another Sanji because you're still behind on Dawn. So 2 blockers out on the field is good for you at this point. I think he's kind of put himself in the best position that he can, right? He has another Gum Gum Giant in the hand right here and a couple 2Ks, but only a few swings with the 3 characters, unless a 10-drop ace or something comes down. And so starting out with a 9,000 power swing, just going to start out with Gum Gum Giant, right? Just says, you know what, with the Gum Gum Giant, I'm going to filter the hand a little bit, get rid of one of these bricks, and try to find some other cards that I can utilize, right? Another 2K in the Usohachi is really good. And now 9,000 power swing coming from the Trafalgar Law. I'm trying to think right now because, like, I mean, you will be able to survive, you know, unless there's like a rush kind of character, just because you have these blockers on field, right? They only have one more swing left in this Eustace Captain Kidd, really, unless they try to divvy up the swings to the Luffy. But if they divvy up more swings to the Luffy, that's just better for you, right? Just because of the you know, it's not as big of a number, especially for the kid, and, you know, you can counter out a little bit more with these different cards that you hand, especially these 2Ks that you got. So definitely an interesting spot for this green-purple Luffy. I mean, the green-purple Luffy next turn, you do have to go for game, right? And so the kid, I wonder if the kid just, like, blockers up, right? Tries to put all these Apus down, tries to put the Capone down at this point, just to be able to flood the board with blockers and say, you know what, I got enough counter in my hand with all these 2Ks that it might just work out in my favor. And so is going to go ahead and use the Trafalgar Law, right, to gain a life. Is going to put Capone Beige in there and put Arrested Dawn on lead. And so now swing 6,000 power is going to force a card out of hand. Only 2Ks to be able to give. So very telling at this point to get a 2K on that when you only needed 1. And so now Scratchman Apus come down 1 and 2 and not 3, just 1 and 2. 2 Scratchman Apus come out on the field, and with leader effect, going to be able to reveal that life and give another character blocker. And so with 3 blockers on the field in this draw 1, trash 1, you still have the Gum Gum Pistol Red Hawk in hand that you drew earlier in the last couple turns, and a couple 2Ks as well as that 1K Luffy. I think the kid's got this on lock right now. I think he's got this position. Even if the Luffy, you know, goes in with this secret rare right here, I don't think there's enough to be able to get this win, right? Go for lethal because of that 7 cost law, gaining that life back. Gang, what's going on? I'll tell you a little bit more how I did at the regionals after this round because I think this game's almost over. But I really enjoyed the regional. I have no regrets in the regional. Hope you're having a good day, friend. Thanks for stopping by. So what's the best thing that you can do as the Luffy, right? Especially because with that 6-cost Luffy, you don't have to take a life, right, to be able to get that rush. It's an after effect of when you put 2 of the Active Dawn back into the deck. So is going to start out swinging 7. Might just be a lot of these like 7 kind of pokes, especially for playing the Luffy here at the end. But goes ahead and uses that Gum Gum Red Hawk to just go to 8, right, just in case they attach a little bit more of the Dawn. Goes ahead and swings 7 yet again at this point. And so with a 2K, 1K, that's an easy counter out when you still have 2 2Ks left in the hand. You can get out of 1 swing, and then with 4 swings left, it's actually, I think as countering out of this, it's mathematically impossible for the green-purple Luffy to win on this turn. Well, technically not, because you get 5 swings, right? You get 5 swings. There's 3 blockers on the field, plus a life, and also having to hit. So, is going to go ahead and use this Demonic 9-Sword style Azura to rest 2 of the blockers. That's why holding it in the hand so long. A mini Hody Jones effectively is going to go ahead and use Leader Effect to get Dawn back and re-ramp the Dawn at this point. And so, with this, now you have really good numbers. Ooh. He might be in a really good position, actually. It all depends on this math. And so now an 8,000 power swing. Actually, now he just wins, right? Because he just goes 2K, 2K on this if he wants, because this is also an 8,000 power swing. And so you could just go 2K, 2K to get out of this swing, and then you just block the last one to be able to go. So actually really interesting endgame for this green-purple Luffy. I do like being able to hold that Demonic 9-Sword style Azura, and I think especially with the Dawn, he just wasn't in a great position, right? Not enough Dawn to be able to go in and win this game, but the Useless Captain Kid just having a really good control in this game, right? Playing out these bodies, getting to the later stages of the game where you're playing these heal effects with the 7-cost Law as well, has a nice little burn effect on the 8-cost Kid, but what's he thinking about doing now? He might be thinking about playing this 6-cost Sanji right here. And so with that 6K swing is going to be a block. And with 3 Dawn is going to go ahead and play that final Sanji from the hand and pass off the turn. Isn't really going to matter, is just kind of a thing because most Japanese players I don't really think concede. But they could screw up the math at this point. You got to make them have the win. So there's a 10K swing, just going to block on that one. And then another 10K swing coming in is going to get the Eustace Captain Kid the win. Is going to move into the top 8, right, as the lone Eustace Captain Kid in this top 16. Definitely a great game. Love seeing that, especially how that played out. And the Eustace Captain Kid really doing they had a ton of counter in hand with those X-Drake and Zeus cards as well. Did a lot of searching in the beginning of the game and just went really aggressive into the green-purple Luffy, right? Really forcing a lot of cards out in the hand. Yo, Carl, good luck in your regionals this weekend. It should be fun. Just make sure you've got everything in, right? Make sure you submit your deck list. I recommend bringing like a water bottle or some snacks as well, because the rounds go by so quickly, it feels like, and sometimes your games can take so long that you don't have time to like go get lunch or something like that. So, like trail mix or, chips or anything like that, granola bars, those are big in there. So make sure you got both of those things as well. Yo, what up, Bear? How are you? But King, I did pretty okay in the regionals. I know that 6-4 is nothing to like be super celebratory of, right? Like I didn't win the whole thing. And I wasn't even like top 128, which I want to be, at least top 128 in tournaments. But considering that I hadn't played any One Piece like 2 weeks prior, I just like watched videos and stuff like that. Oh, who's this guy? I don't know who this is. I've never seen him on the stream before, but because I hadn't played like in the last 2 weeks at all, and then as well as playing Green Yellow Law, which is a deck that I have not played at all, really. I played like a little bit in 10, but not like to a serious extent or anything like that, or to a bunch of tournaments. So it was definitely a learning experience, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I can't complain about 6 and 4, especially with like no practice and flying back into Vegas the night before. Like I landed at midnight, literally like 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, the day of the tournament, and then I had to go play 10 rounds in the regional the next day. So, oh, he's showing the new cards. Oh, thank you, LOL Gates. Oh, I think I saw a bunch of these on Twitter and stuff like that when they came out. I think I posted about a little bit of them. And I think they populated in our reveals section of the Discord as well. So that makes sense. Let's see. But, yeah, like I was pretty pumped about 6 and 4, to be honest. I was pretty pumped. I played Green Yellow Law. I was not confident enough to play Blue Nami, OP12 Blue Nami. I think I could have done pretty all right if I played Blue Yellow Nami, or I'm sorry, not Blue Yellow Nami, Mono Blue Nami from OP03. But I hadn't like played it all, and so I was, if I played that deck to a regional, I want to be like hardcore practiced and, you know, really on my A game, which I was not for this tournament, you know. What do you think of Usopp in 11? Finding success with that at locals and my opponents get surprised. Purple, Straw Hat decks, etc. I think Usopp is in a really weird spot. I think Usopp is like very similar to Kid, where it's like one of those, like Yellow Kid, like we just watched, where it's like really one of those underdog decks. Because you struggle against a couple different matchups, but especially if the meta rotates to like a specific side of where you can excel in, right? Like if it rotates to a side, because metas are always shifting and stuff like that. If the meta shifts to this section of decks is super popular and super good, right, that you can face like multiple of in a tournament, then it's like one of those sleeper picks that are in a really good spot. That's what I felt about Green Yellow Law this weekend, right? Like my buddy got top 32 at the regional, Richie, he top 32'd there, and he's a guy that's been grinding in left, right, center. And with my matchups, I'll show you my matchups as we get a break in here. I'll give myself a little break. Oops, not TCG player. We're going to X. Oh, chat, by the way. Chat, Tier 1 LV, our new sponsor. Make sure to go check them out. Let's see. I posted my matchups, was it yesterday? Man, I tweet a lot. Okay, so these were my matchups. No, I'm not live watching. I'm watching the VOD, Dominic. This is the championship, the Hiroshima championship that happened this past weekend. I have just not seen it yet. I have not commentated it as I usually do, so I wanted to commentate it in the new studio space, chat, that we've got here at Tier 1. But so let me talk about the matchups. So these are my matchups, right? I played against 3 different green purple Luffys. That was the most populous deck that I played against. I also played against 2 blue purple Luffys. And if you were to ask me before the tournament what decks I expect to face multiple of in a tournament setting, I would have told you it's green purple Luffy and blue purple Luffy. So exactly what I was thinking of. And also I went 5-0 against those decks combined. So I played those pretty well. I don't know exactly how great of matchups they are, right? The green purple Luffy felt like a pretty good matchup in my opinion. Like you just go so fast, and then being able to like play Hody Jones to end the game is just so good against that deck, right? I caught I caught 2 of my 3 green purple Luffys on Hody Jones, but there wasn't really a way that I could, or that they could have really avoided Hody Jones. It was really one of those things where they were like, if you have Hody Jones, you have Hody Jones, you know. So the mirror, when I played the mirror, I played a green yellow law mirror in round 3. He absolutely beat the snot out of me. He outclassed me. He knew what he was doing. I did not really know what he was, or I did not really know what I was doing. He was the one thing that was cool though, in that, because we talked earlier, or I mean, we talked later after the match, and I was asking him for like tips and stuff like that. He was saying how in the matchup, he was using 5-cost Bonnie, the one that freezes and stuns. He was using 5-cost Bonnie to stun my Dawn, where I was using 5-cost Bonnie to stun his Cavendish. And he says that he probably would have changed it to stunning the stunning the Dawn. I just didn't think about that in a sense, because from my perspective, with him stunning my Dawn, I was like, oh, I can just use Cavendish to pick the Dawn back up, right? So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But it actually makes it like a lot more awkward. He was kind of explaining until like where you have to use Cavendish, right? Like you have to either use Cavendish to restand one Dawn, right? Because let's say like, let's say I use leader effect and I play the 5-cost Bonnie from life and I stun one of his Dawn and he's going into his 7 Dawn turn, right? He's got 6 rested Dawn and he's now at a point like in his turn at 7 Dawn, 6 active, 1 rested because it froze. He's at this point in the game where he's put in this like weird spot to where like he either needs to use Cavendish first to be able to restand one of the Dawn and play 7-cost Law, right? Or he needs to have like a 1-drop Searcher or something like that in his hand to be able to play down first and then restand it with Cavendish. So it's kind of like one of those things that like, I think it's not like one of those things that you think of right away. It's more so just like things that you learn practicing the matchup. So I thought that was really, really cool. Okay. The Bello Betty game as well. The Bello Betty, the guy just like beat the snot out of me. He just beat me down to a pulp. He found like, I think he comboed 5-cost Ivankov. No. He went 4-cost Ivankov, powered up into Karasu, right? And then the next turn, he went 5-cost Ivankov into another Karasu. So, like, he just absolutely wiped the floor with me. It was not really close. We played a second game as well on top of that because I was like, I might play this deck again. Like, I need to play the matchup a little bit. And we finished in, like, 10 minutes. And he was a really nice guy. He tried to give me like some pointers and stuff, but overall, it's just a terrible matchup for green yellow law, I think. So that was tough. Rob Lucci, I basically just thought about the Kyoto Championships in that top 16 match that we covered on the channel when green yellow law played against Lucci, and I basically did that same thing. That's what I did. It was really funny though, because at the end I was threatening lethal, and so he put up 2 Rebecca blockers to be able to, get a little bit of counter back, to be able to have 2 blockers on the field. And I said Hody Jones, and the game was over after that. And then the Anel, that was another matchup that I really credit to inexperience. That guy just controlled. I mean, he rocked me, but he was really funny. I really liked him, and we had some really good conversations as well afterwards. I just went straight at face the whole time. Like I was just face, trying to go really, really, really fast. Which kind of works sometimes within the matchup he was telling me, but he ended up on his 6th Dawn turn. He played his 3rd 2-cost Shirahoshi, right? So he built up this wall of like 3 2-cost Shirahoshis, and he just took life really easily in the beginning, and then he had these blockers out on the field. And so then it became a long game of like, oh, he played the 8-cost Katakuri. Oh, he played the 9-cost Yamato. Oh, he played another 9-cost Yamato or the 8-cost Katakuri. Like at one point, I was like at 6 life because he was just using Katakuri and then using Yamato to like KO everything. So That one was also crazy, but I think I could maybe win that matchup if I just knew what I was doing, or like I practiced a little bit more. Cause he said like there's a time where you do want to like make them take life and go like really aggressive, but there's also times when you really need to battle the board, right? So once you establish the board with a couple different bodies, then like your other bodies, maybe like your 7 cost law, right? Which is the most important card in that matchup. Use those to really just try to beat out the different big bodies that he'll put out on the field. So it was really cool. I had a really nice opponent in there. I love that guy. He was awesome. Because I like when I play, I also make like little quips of like, you know, when he plays his third Shirahoshi, I was like, oh my gosh, you're building a wall over there. Like I give like little tidbits when I play a lot of times, and he would like give me tidbits back. So it was really fun to play. But Zuro, that one was also really difficult. That one was, I think as well, like is just another bad matchup for Green Yellow Law. Because they just go so fast, right? Just like Bello Betty. Like you don't have time to like KO their different bodies and stuff on the field. We did play a second game afterwards, and I lost the second game, but I lost because of a mole pistol trigger. Which I would have won otherwise if it was like literally any other card. So definitely really interesting, I think, of that. So that was a really interesting one as well, and I'm glad I got 2 games in. And I lost both of them. And then the green purple Luffy, yeah, I mean, I beat. That was a really close one. I actually had a really slow start against that 10th round green purple Luffy, and the guy was really good. Actually, he was very good at just knowing what I was going to do and being able to like counter it and stuff. I mean, I got him with Hody Jones. Hody Jones I saw in 2 of my 3, and they were stellar. Hey, what up, Chaparro? How are you? This stream was really like kind of put together. I don't want to say last second, but pretty quickly, I will say. But thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a good day. I wanted to play out all 10 rounds, Bear, because it was a local regional. Like I didn't have to travel super far. I wanted to play out all 10 rounds because for pride's purposes, I wanted to go 6-4 and not 5-5. So that's why I played it out. But yeah, this is a VOD for anyone that's curious. Let's go into the next round though, because we still have the top 8, top 4, and finals to watch. So, all right, this is the top cut for the top 3, chat. I'm pretty sure that this is blue purple Luffy right here. I have to go back and look. Hold on. Yeah, this is blue purple Luffy. Always with it, like I can read hiragana and katakana, I feel like pretty well. But when it comes to kanji, that is one that I'm like, I have no idea on kanji. And I know that kanji is much more difficult comparatively to like hiragana and katakana, but yeah, I always have to look on this. So blue purple Luffy in this top 8 is taking up 3 spots, the most populous deck, right? There's a reason why I believe this deck is the BDIF. And it's because of stuff like this all the time. It feels like every single tournament. We've got in the one starting out this top one. This is Rayleigh right here, the OP12 Rayleigh. We've got green purple Luffy. So 3 of the 4, I think, green purple Luffy's in that top 16 getting bounced out. Green yellow Law sticking around as one of the decks in the top 8. You've also got Marshall D. Teach right here. And then also this is the kid that we just watched as the win. Ooh, green yellow Law versus Teach. Oh boy. Chat, for anyone who does not know, green yellow Law is going to be the next one that we watch right here. And let me pull up some sample deck lists of green yellow Law and Teach to be able to show you guys, or be able to get certain translations correct. Let's see. Blackbeard. Got this one. I'm sure most of them will be correct. The Blackbeard's really interesting because this is still OP12 pre-starter decks, chat. They don't have the starter decks yet over here, so this is a little bit different because if you paid attention to the top 32 rankings of the Las Vegas regional, one of our Las Vegas locals, his name is Limes. He played Blackbeard with a bunch of the new starter deck cards, the new Kuzan, the new Blackbeard 7 cost. So if you're a Blackbeard main, let me pull up his deck list, by the way. Let me just do that before we get into this game. Let's see. Event coverage.
Enough John to save it.
Bye, Eggman. OP11. Core TCG. Let's see. Where is his Blackbeard? This was not him, but that's a high placing Blackbeard. I think he lost in top 32. So, oh, that's Tibbers. Limes. Here he is. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so this was his list going into the, or I guess I need to do one more. So this was his list in here, you know, playing one of this new Kuzan and 3 of the 7 cost Marshall D Teach. I thought 3 was pretty accurate to what I thought. I did not talk to my friend before this tournament because I've been gone for 2 weeks, but playing Tempest Kick as well in this event, right? Especially because, you know, if you have those 10 or more cards in your trash, which can happen pretty easily with Blackbeard, right? You get that -3 cost to be able to use on, you know, different things like Doc Q, right? Playing a heavy count of Doc Q in this list. Also Black Hole, right? Working because it doesn't work with original cost. Only Liberation, I believe, is the original cost. Yeah, base cost of 6, original cost. On these like KO effects right here, kind of set you up for these 3 cards. So really, really cool in my opinion. I think it's just the meta, right? With more on-play effects, Bear, the more on-play effects, the more successful Teach is, right? And especially with Zoro, I think Zoro was kind of the big propeller of that, Zoro and Rayleigh, because they both work a lot with on-play effects, right? Especially with your, like, Tashigi's, Cavendish, things like that, right? So Green Yellow Law, this is going to be an interesting deck, and I'm going to try to get you the best cast possible in this game, even though this is a bad matchup for Green Yellow Law, right? Marshall D Teach turning off all your on-play effects when you have so many good on-play effects in your deck is definitely going to be tough, I feel like, in this one. But Green Yellow Law being able to cheat out different characters on the field, though, might be advantageous because swarm effects are really bad for Blackbeard, right? So especially if you can get characters to stick on the board, right? Especially with maybe the 2-cost Beige, right? The Blackbeard is going to be able to not remove it as easy as you think in here. So going to be really interesting to see how this goes. The Green Yellow Law is going first, so if they do have a 1-drop searcher like that Luffy in the hand, right, that we saw in that last game in the Kid deck, well, they're going to be able to search for it, right? You can't stop on play effects before you even play. So I believe these are the starting hands in this game. I don't think they've opted for mulligans yet, the Green Yellow Law going first. Well, Black Bear, it's the Zoro can only hit twice if it hits a character, right? Zoro can only hit twice if it hits a character. So interesting stuff in this list for this Green Yellow Law in OP12. Little bit different, right? We see Demonic 9-Sword style Asura right here that we saw in the last round in the Luffy list, as well as a 1-drop Perona searcher. So that 1-drop Perona SR in OP12 is very nice, right? You typically see it in Zoro, but with this deck playing so many different slash type characters. I remember I played in the regional and I played against the Zuro, and the Zuro was playing a 1-cost buggy that can't be KO'd by slash attributes, and like my whole deck was slash attributes. So Perona could be a nice another searcher that you can add within this deck. The Blackbeard right here has a stronger right there, a nice 2K, as well as 2 Doc Qs, a Caribou, and a Van Augur. So is going to be able to remove some stuff, right, with the Van Augur and Doc Q combos that are in this game. And then also just stronger, just being a nice 2K Caribou, being a little 1-drop blocker that you can put down on the field. The 1-drop blocker might actually be really nice in this matchup for the swarm tactics that the green-yellow law can potentially do. So going to be curious to see how this game evolves and how we go into it. The green-yellow law going first. Probably going to start out with, I don't know if they'd rather start out with the Luffy or the Perona. I guess it would be just depending on what the deck list is built. In general, probably the Perona is much more likely to hit a card, right? Because if you're mixing in these like green cards that Perona can grab, maybe you have more options, but is going to go ahead and go with that Luffy, looking for a Supernova card, and finds plenty of them, right? There's a 2-cost Beige right there. We also see the 5-cost starter deck Restand Law as well. And so that's a nice card to be able to swing multiple times, usually as a 1 or 2 of in a lot of decks. So this player playing at least 1. The Blackbeard, starting off, might just go ahead and play a Doc Q at this point. And this is going to be one of the big things with the Blackbeard deck that is going to be interesting after they KO this Luffy. How many times do you use Leader Effect, right? You use Leader Effect and you negate their on plays, but you minus a card in the hand if they get to swarm. Not using it this time around and KOing that Luffy, this is going to be really nice, right? You want to get the characters off the field as much as possible because Trafalgar Law can't use his Leader Effect until he has a set of cards on the field that add to 5 or more cost in total. So getting those 1-drop blockers away with the Doc Q is going to be a really big deal, especially with bouncing them. So on this Perona search, does find 2 Cavendishes, is not looking at the Cavendish right now, is looking at counter instead. You found 2 of them and you're probably playing 4 in your deck. So if you're going to play it down, you might want to get it at this point. You have the ability to really cycle your deck extremely aggressively, right? More aggressive than many other decks in the game. But especially if some are in your life, right? It's not like Pokemon where you could just see what is in your prize or life cards. Maybe just grabbing it now is going to be the best scenario for you. And so does go ahead and use that Capone Beige. The Capone Beige is a nice way to round out all of your Dawn, but if another Doc Q comes down, not going to be able to save the Perona, right? Because you can only save Supernova type characters, while Perona is a Muggy Kingdom Thriller Bark Pirate type. The Blackbeard on 4 Dawn is going to go ahead and swing 6,000 power, and so could prompt one of the 2Ks that you have in hand, or the 1 2K that you have in hand, I should say, with the X-Drake. Or you can go ahead and take a life, try to build up the hand a little bit. And so is going to go ahead and take the life right here. Does not want to give up that 2K as of yet. And finds a 5-drop Law. 5-drop Law might be nice if you get more on play effects. And the Caribou and Doc Q combo is going to come down for the Blackbeard. And the negating on play effects, right? I love the negating on play effects on the 5 Dawn turn in this matchup. Pitches a 10-drop Blackbeard. If you can't tell what that card is, that's the 10-drop there. On the 5 Dawn turn, you really want to take out the on-play effects because there's so many cards that can be utilized for on-play effects in this deck starting at 5. You talk about that 5-drop Law that we saw right there. We saw Cavendish earlier. 5-drop Bonnie Secret Rare from OP12 could be able to draw cards in the future, as well as potentially the 5-drop Stun Bonnie, right? Stunning one of the Dawn could be very bad for this Blackbeard, right? Trying to get up to 10 Dawn sometimes to be able to play that 10-drop. But is going to go ahead and start out with a 5,000 power swing at lead, is going to go ahead and take that first life. Is no trigger on that one, is just going to put in hand another caribou blocker, it looks like. And now is going to go ahead to play the law, but no on-play effect at this point, is just going to pass off the turn. Just says, you know what, I'm going to build these blockers on the board. I'm really only expecting one swing per turn right now, and especially with a 6,000 power blocker, I might be able to just block a free 5k swing from you on this law at this point, especially if you try to play something down like Van Augur or something of the sort. And so attaches one and goes ahead and swings 6,000 power at lead. And so is going to go ahead and block on that and give a 1k Cavendish out of that hand. No more Cavendish at this point because mostly I would think that the on KO effects are coming in, and the Van Augur comes, minuses the Capone Beige, and now the Doc Q is going to go ahead and get that KO. You may be wondering why they opted for the Capone Beige instead of the Trafalgar Law, right? Because the Trafalgar Law is just more dangerous. But with that saving effect of the Capone Beige, you don't want that law to come back into the life, not only gaining a life, but be able to cheat that character out onto the field with only one done. So you got to get rid of the Beige first. The Trafalgar Law definitely going to be wanting to see more than that, and finds an 8-cost kid. So playing 8-cost kid as well in this deck is something that we see on and off, definitely a little bit more heavy in this weekend in like the Las Vegas regional, but in the OP12 format is definitely on and off at times. I feel like lately in this last week, looking at deck lists and people playing, I've seen it more, but I think at the start of this format, not necessarily as present, especially with some of these other cards that came out in 12. But anyways, now going ahead and potentially thinking about attaching one Dawn and swing. And so is going to go ahead, if they swing 6, are they going to go at life or one of these characters on the field? Does start out with a Perona swing, and that's going to be at this Doc Q, I presume. Is just going to try to say like, okay, I need to get rid of these characters. You definitely want to swing at the Doc Q first, I think, just simply because that's the second Doc Q that we've seen in this game. It's more than likely that they don't have any more in their hand at this point, right, with having so much of their deck left and not a lot of cycle at this point. Starts out with the 6,000 power Trafalgar Law swing, and I like this aggressive swing from the Trafalgar Law, right? There's a good chance that it could get popped KO'd on an effect in the upcoming turns. So you get aggressive, right? Go ahead and swing with that, and then swing with lead as well. Just kind of put the Blackbeard a little bit on the ropes. This is going to take that first life and put the Katarina Devon in the hand, and another Trafalgar Law comes down, is going to be able, because there was no leader effect, play out the, oh, what is he doing at this point? So he opted, so interesting. So it was a little bit fast there. So it looked like what he said was he put down the 5-cost Law to pick up the Perona, opted not to put anything else down, immediately then used leader effect, or no, I'm sorry, played down the Law, used leader effect to pick up the Perona, right? And look at that life. It was a whiff, a blind whiff, and then went ahead, just played the Perona down to get another body on field, especially if they go ahead and start clearing some of these bodies. You can get that 1 cost out. That was a little bit confusing for me because of the... especially of Blackbeard's leader effect. When this deck, you know, on the green, yellow, Law side is constantly bouncing things up and down, that's one thing that I really need to get adjusted to as a caster. I need to play more of these green, yellow, Law games. Even though I played 10 rounds the other day in Vegas, I need to watch a lot more and play a lot more to be able to call those a little bit more correctly. Anyways, the Van Augur swing is going to go at lead. It looks like at this point is going to go ahead potentially and take this life. Don't want to give up the X-Drake as of yet. Does take it and find another Perona Searcher. We knew that was there earlier because of the blind leader flip that we did, and attaches 3 Dawn and swings 8,000 power. This 8,000 power swing does look like it's also going to lead, he just said so. Might be leaving this 5 for Katarina Devon right now, right? Might just be a 5 cost blocker that you can opt to make it since it can't swing. It looks like a Jesus Burgess is also in the hand. So you might go ahead and play Jesus Burgess Caribou combo to be able to get a big body on the field that's going to grow over time and be able to swing later, as well as a little chum blocker. And so now on the 6,000 power, or no, he's still trying to think about the swing from the leader. And so is going to go ahead and block, and he does have to give up 2K, 1K, so is going to do that in the hand. The 4 is going to be a Burgess, like I mentioned, and then the 1 is going to come in as well for the nice Caribou blocker, right? Building the board a little bit, getting these little blockers on the field, and with leader effect is going to go away and pitch a Tempest Kick to negate on play effects, especially now that 7 cost Law is viable to be played at this point. You don't want to give your opponent an opportunity to play the 5 cost Law. And so the Jesus Burgess is only a 6,000 power character, so might be one of those things where you could play like Eustace Captain Kidd on this turn, right? You're at 9 Dawn and you've got 2 blockers out on the field. So especially with Burgess not being a super big character, you might just get that right there and force them to swing at the kid. It's a little tricky though, because if they have enough minusing and a KO effect, then it's like you kind of feel like you went nowhere on your turn, right, with the kid. You just had them expend a lot of resources in hand, but only a 3-card hand. I don't know. It might not be too bad. The X-Strike that they got, that 2K, is going to be able, if they want to rest one of the Caribous on the field. That could be a nice situation to be able to try to swing at these bodies or at the life, just be a little bit more aggressive. And so is going to start off with that demonic 9-sword Salasora, is going to be that mini Hody Jones after resting 4 Dawn and rest the 2 Caribous right there. So 5 Dawn left, it looks like, is now going to go ahead and Perona and just swing at these Caribous, right? Just because you rest them means that if you don't get rid of them, then they're just going to be standing on the next turn as little blockers. So what are you going to do with the rest of this? How aggressive do you get with swinging with your Law blockers? That's going to be the really big key here, because you need to put on pressure some form or another in this game, right? So I think maybe calculating out the Burgess at this point, just seeing how much power that big guy is going to have. Effectively, if they pitch one more card in hand, right, if you go ahead and swing 6,000 power and maybe counter with that 2K stronger, is going to put them to 8. And if you don't, maybe they just take the life, right, build up the hand a little bit more on these swings. They use leader effect next turn, and it's going to be a 7,000 power Burgess at that point. So really interesting spot. Definitely, again, a tough matchup for green-yellow Law, but goes aggressive and swings the 6,000 power right here. And so is thinking about pitching the stronger. You don't want to take too many swings with this. So especially because they can just go ahead and attach Dawn left and right at this point to these other characters. Yet you don't want to go down too far right now. So is going to go ahead and counter out of that to make that Burgess very big and at least have 1 life heading into this next turn that he's got. And so attaching 1, swinging the 7 now is going to force him to take a life. But if he's swinging at the Van Augur, then the Van Augur is just going to be 1K to get out of it. But is going to go ahead, swing at life, and take it. Is a potential trigger, might be something like Black Hole or the Liberation events. Looks like it was a Tempest Kick, only KOs 3-cost characters. Maybe didn't want to utilize that on the Perona at all. Is going to just attach 1 Dawn and pick up the Perona, pick up that 1K counter, flip over. It's a Trafalgar Law. Now he's got to decide, does he want to play down that Law on the field at this point? And If he does, he gets a blocker out on the field to protect himself maybe against this Burgess, but also he goes down one more life. Really, at this point, you're utilizing the Trafalgar Law leader effect in this matchup to just pick up characters, right? Pick up a little bit of extra counter or something like that. And as they're showing on screen, Blackbeard, a card that they run a lot of times that we've seen in the last couple months, Shigan or Finger Pistol, is going to be something that he maybe has to think about because a Finger Pistol would equal a KO on this 5-cost Law. So really thinking about the value in the trade of like, okay, what kind of swings do they have coming in? What kind of counter do I have as well in this hand? How do I want to deal with this? This is a really tough position. I don't know actually which would be better overall to do at this point. Because like I was saying earlier, like you want to be on the aggressive in this matchup, right? You want to be able to swarm the board and swing big numbers at these, at the leader, right? Try to pressure them, pin them down. But taking your own life is so tough sometimes. And there's a My Era Begins on the trigger after swinging 8,000 power is 2 full leads and a Lafitte at this point. So definitely not taking that full lead, a little too late for that card, and passing off the turn. Does have that 5-drop blocker on the field, but we'll see on the draws how they can go now at a full 10 Dawn turn. Draws into a Laboon, which is another really good cost minusing card of this. But the thing is with this cost minusing, they have plenty of cost minusing in the hand right now. They've got that Van Augur on the field and 1 in hand. They've got the Tempest Kick, right, that is now active to be able to -3. They've got the Laboon to -4 on something, but you don't have any combos to be able to get rid of any of these characters. So is it worth really utilizing these at this point? You don't have another 10-drop Blackbeard to be able to utilize. Only found that one and pitched it right away, but honestly hasn't had a lot of cycling. That's why full lead is so good within this deck to be able to utilize, because the full lead is such a great card to be able to continuously cycle and build up your trash as well as your hand and cycle through your deck. Does go ahead and use leader effect on that Tempest Kick. Is going to make that Burgess an 8,000 power character now. And so with the Dawn, do you just try to go for game at this point? And is just going to pitch the entire hand now to make the Burgess now a 9,000 power character, and still all 10 Dawn is going to have to go for lethal at this point. And so has 4 Dawn set off to the side. Might be able to swing with this Caribou, to be honest, but starts out with a 9,000 power Burgess swing right here. And so this 9,000 power Burgess swing going at life. You do have the Demonic 9-sword style in hand, and that Demonic 9-sword style is going to be able to give you 3,000 counter, I believe, with this 1 Dawn that you have, which is going to really help you out within this because you have a 2K, 1K also in the hand with a lot of Dawn remaining. This is a really critical part right now at this stage of the game. You really got to think about what is the best thing my opponent can do with the rest of this 10 Dawn. When is the appropriate time to block right on this? You really just need to defend out of, well, you need to defend out of potentially 2 swings with this, but do you take the life? This is so, I actually don't know what you do here. This is definitely my inexperience of just green yellow law in general of what you want to do. And also just inexperience on lethal math, but what are you going in with? And so ends up taking the life. What is it? It's a 1K, which is going to help you a lot, right? Because it is a little bit of counter in your hand, and that counter might be able to help you, especially if they try to swing with this Caribou. And so now swings 10,000 power, at the Trafalgar Law, 10,000 power on this swing. If you can get out of this right now, I think you're sitting in a really good spot. And so has 3,000 power, which goes to 8, 2K, 1K. So Demonic 9-sword style 2K, 1K would get you out of the swing because it would put you at 11. And then if they try to use, or no, they don't have any cards in hand. So the best thing that they can do is like spread the Dawn out in these swings. Wait, but you could just swing with the caribou, right? If you swung with the caribou, you go like 5-7? So what do? Do you just go ahead and block? If you block, you have to counter out of like an 11K swing. Do you have 11K? 3, 10. So you can get out of an 11K swing. And if they go in with that 11K swing, you just pitch the hand, right? You use the demonic 9-sword style to go to 8. The 2K is 10. And then the 2 1Ks is exact math to get out of the swing. So here it goes. 12,000 power to get out of that swing. Then they pass off the turn. Very easy math at this point. And so I think there might have been a better situation. I don't think 6-6 gets him there, though, Than, because if he goes 6-6, right, he still has the counter event. He still has the 2K, the 1Ks. I don't think it got him there. But I don't know if there was anything better. Maybe blocking was the best scenario for him because blocking then forced him to try to go all in with it. But even if he went wide, he still had plenty of counter in hand to go for the game. Maybe the big thing was taking the life at first. Maybe that was really the big deal. Six will get him there with Caribou if he counters first. Well, but on this swing, he just goes ahead and blocks. Right? Or, I mean, it'd be 6-7, but he can get out of that pretty easy. Yeah, if there was a if there's a finger pistol trigger right here, then that would have been nuts, actually. That would have lost him the game at that point. Yeah, finger pistol trigger right here would have been end of the game because you have no rush cards and you because of this blocker, you have to hit 3 times exactly. Let me catch up on chat a little bit. Oh, could he have Mario? I didn't even notice, to be honest. What was this card, by the way? I didn't even see. Oh, it's a Kuzan. It was the 5-cost SP Kuzan. Shoo! Good green-yellow law win. Yeah, but so Zoro's condition is just battling with a character, and so blockers is technically battling with characters. So yeah, they restand. Oh, I totally get you, Nimblo, but in the regional, I had a friend that played green, yellow, law. This is his list. I mean, you still have to get the Cavendish, which is a barrier to entry, but he didn't play 7-cost law at all. Yeah, he made top 32 in the Vegas regional X2, I believe, and then lost to Blackbeard, which is a difficult matchup for the deck. In the top 32 round, he played really freaking well, and he played no 7-cost laws. So you don't technically have to buy that card. You just need to buy the Cavendish because you cannot get away with not having Cavendish. But yeah, he was awesome in the event, and this is a crazy list. I don't know if I would play this list just simply because I think 7-cost law is really good. I would go down on my count in 7-cost law, but I don't know. I think what I would do is I would probably like go down 1 law, go down 1 kid, put in 2 laws, and maybe this Zoro, or I'm sorry, this law. Maybe I would go like -1, -1, -1, and put in 3 7-cost laws. If I go 2, then I keep 4 of these Zoros, these laws. I think. personally. That's just me, but I have no testing. And Richie, my friend who played this and got top 32 at the regional, he tested way more than I did. He tested way more than I did, chat. Chat, first of all, thank you so much for everyone who's here today. Also, Starry Night Seas, what's going on? Protons, thanks for following earlier. Appreciate it, friend. Chat, thank you so much for being here. If you're joining me today, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube, all that jazz and bag of chips, and follow on Twitch. But that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. You've decided to run Reiju for regionals. I think Reiju's really, really cool, Carl. I like Reiju a lot. I mean, Reiju has that like super aggressive tempo that is very good in this meta, right? Cavendish should get reprinted in PRBO2, so I'll wait and see. Yeah, I think that's fine because we're starting to get more reveals now of the set, and we know that EBO1 is in PRBO2 because we saw that Finger Pistol was getting an alternate art in there. So I wouldn't blame anybody for waiting. It's just one of those things that's really weird because like if you wait, right, and the price doesn't really move. Oh my gosh, whoa. This is sick. Holy cow, this is the reverse hollows in PRB? Is this just for Blackbeard though? Hold on, let me see that Perona again. No, go back, go back. I haven't seen these, chat. This is my like first time seeing these. So this doesn't really, so this card has like a unique, this is like a unique hollow pattern where it's like all bubbles, but then what do you have? No, go back. So this has these, I hate this. I hate this. This sucks. These are, this is not a good reverse hollow in my opinion. The Sabo. So all these cards like hollow patterns. So instead of like every card having a Jolly Roger pattern, every card has its like own unique hollow pattern. No shot. Really? Yeah, like his hollow patterns in his like fist. That's so sick. What the heck? This is awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I think, Carl, if you feel really, really confident in blue, purple Luffy and green, purple Luffy, I think it's a fine deck to bring. Even if it's not like the most high rated deck. Richie the GOAT. Oh, but what I was saying, sorry, before I got distracted by this insane hollow pattern right here. This is crazy. I want that Teach card so bad. Is if Cavendish, I feel like could get reprinted in PRBO2, right? Because it's one of the best green cards to come out. Yo, who did that? Who did that? Yo, Marty, thanks for the super chat. It's the best law character card? What is that law card? If Cavendish gets reprinted, right, in PRBO2, it'll tank the price, right, which is awesome. But if it doesn't, the price is going to go insane for the card, right? Is this 9? Oh, yeah, this is 9. This guy? You think this is the best law character card? I don't know if I think that this is the best law character card. I like this one a lot. I like this one a lot. Yeah, I think this one's my favorite. I think that one's my favorite. Marty, thank you again for the super chats, friends. I appreciate it. Nah, leave Dofi in the ground. I would wait, Habib. I would wait. Or actually, where's Finger Pistol at right now? Finger Pistol is confirmed in EBO2. Or I'm sorry, PRBO2. Finger Pistol is confirmed. So, like, this price is going to go down, right? It's already started going down after, it fell off the meta a little bit. And then since it got revealed, I think it got revealed, like, around right here. It's already dropped down like $2. So I would wait. I would wait on Finger Pistol. Just wait until it gets reprinted. But if if you want to play a deck right now that has it, right? If you want to play a deck right now and you're willing to spend $5 per, then go for it. But you'd have to find it probably at a local shop, or you just buy 4 from this guy right now. Let me actually see something, though. Where can I find... How can I do this? Twitch.tv/Atrocious Jake. How do I do this? Okay. Chat, if you do not know, as I'm doing right now, if you type !T1 in the Twitch chat, you'll go to our sponsor link, right, of Tier 1 Games. That's where the studio is being set up. By the way, I need to ask them if I can have this Monkey Dory right here because I need one more Monkey Dory for my Pokemon deck. But they also have One Piece. I think it's primarily like EBO2 stuff right now. If I go high to low. But chat, if you want singles, make sure to shop at Tier 1 Games. Link is in the description, as well as the pin message on YouTube and the command in Twitch. Do you like the 8-cost Luffy in the deck? Do I think Brook will be in there too? I think Brook has just as good of a shot as Cavendish to be in there. Which is not really an answer I think that you're looking for, but I mean, Brook has been one of the best black cards in the game, right? Has been an incredible SR. Cavendish has been at the same level of good, right? I would say, in green decks. So I would assume that they're both going to be put into PRB if EBO1 is confirmed in the set, because they've been broken cards. They've been so good. But I also know that you can only fit probably so many EBO1 cards in there, because, I mean, even through here, we know that, you know, the Dofi starter deck is getting in. We know that this promo Shanks is getting in. We know that, you know, starter deck 12 Perona is going to be in here. Sangoro, Ideo, you know, stuff like that. We know that PRBO2 is going to have more unique cards than PRBO1 did. So how many cards can you actually fit in there? So it's really hard to say at this point. You're just going to have to wait until reveals, I think. I hope they're both in there, though. I hope that Cavendish, I hope that Brooks in there. I hope that Tony Chopper is in there. I hope Shirahoshi's in there. I don't have a playset of Shirahoshi still. Yeah, Sanji Pudding. Sanji Pudding's not too bad, though. Because Sanji Pudding has definitely calmed down, right? I mean, it's come down, but $15 is still a lot, I'll say. Yeah, $15 is still a really good price, but they've come down, thankfully. They're not 18, 19 anymore. They've cooled off a little bit. Yeah, like PRBO2, like it's a best collection, and as you see, like on here, like you don't want to put too many of the cards in there. Like we even know that Usohachi is in the set. We even know that Usohachi's in the set. So, do you think it's good to buy the anniversary pack with the 4 emperors? Buy the anniversary pack with the 4 emperors. The anniversary pack with the 4 emperors? I don't know which one that is, Habib. I'm trying to think. Oh, is that the new thing that they announced? Where like is it a 10 cost? Is it another like 10 cost buggy or something that got announced? I don't know. I mean, I'm not overly familiar with those cards, so I can't give any valuable advice, which, I mean, I don't know if you should take financial advice from me anyways. Oh, if it went through Premium Bandai, then I agree with Habib. If you didn't order it through Premium Bandai. Oh, with the 4 leader alts. Oh, if you didn't pre-order it on Premium Bandai, I don't think I'd buy it. It's going to be so expensive. It's going to be so expensive. Oh, John, we should all play Blue Purple Luffy at this point. Yeah, everybody should play Blue Purple Luffy. Yeah, so I can keep playing Green Yellow Law. Don't worry. I'll be a little bit different, but you guys can play the best deck. You guys can play the BDIF. I don't think it's confirmed. I haven't seen any confirmation. Also, how are you doing, friend? It's good to see you. God packs aren't confirmed in PRBO2, so if anybody says so right now, it's just speculation. But I would imagine that there's a God pack in PRBO2. I mean, you could probably get a lot of money, Beaches. You could probably get a good chunk of change if you sold those alt leaders. I personally collect all the alt leaders, so I'm not going to sell mine, but I could see anybody who wanted to do that. Chad, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're just starting to get the reveals, so we'll get more as time goes on, Urban Ronin. Appreciate you being here. We'll get more as time goes on, and we'll see more and more. Yeah, most everything right now is speculation, which I try to make it clear to you guys on when I talk and give advice and things of what is speculation and what is fact. Yeah, I feel like Black Bear, and this is my guess, I feel like they're typically not confirmed by Bandai. It's usually like people are just opening them up and, somebody gets video of it. Oh, I'll definitely make them, Habib. I've been making these tournament videos and stuff like that since December of 2023. So I've been doing it like a year and a half now, and I'll keep doing it. I love doing it. It's fun. Yeah, the super pre-release leaders are cool. I wasn't playing the game at that time, so I missed out on them, but I think they're neat. I don't think we know what the manga is in PRBO2, but I would imagine that there's a Luffy in there, and I'd be really curious if they reprinted mangas again. Like different ones that we've had as of late. Like the ones that were in OP09, right? The Shanks, Buggy, Blackbeard, Luffy, Law, right? Law, we know the 7-cost Law is an SP in the set. So that would be cool. I wonder if they'd put a unique leader in, or a unique manga in the set, like a brand new one. I think that'd be interesting. I don't mind Luffy getting all the mangas right because Luffy is the main character. I don't have a strong opinion like some people. The leak was 9-cost Sanji manga. I think that could be, I think that could be a manga. It's I don't know if I fully believe it though. Cause like all the mangas, right, have been in the set, right? Every single manga rare has been in the set, right? That it originally came in, right? Like this came out in OP04, this came out in OP08. This is a OP05, right? Yeah, it came out in OP05. Law. Yeah, this is the Searcher Law. Yeah, that came out in OP05. Zoro came out in OP06 was the manga. Chopper, EBO1, Teach 9, Shanks 1, Luffy 9. Yeah, this is the 9 cost that came in 9. This is the EBO2. This guy was the one. Oh yeah, because it was him and then it was Kid and Kid and whatchamacallit, Law. Yeah, so I don't know if 9 cost Sanji I don't know if Sanji could be a manga then, because unless they decide, and again, this is speculation, the 9 cost Sanji I don't think could be a manga, personally, because, no, actually, never mind. No, you know what? It could be the manga. Because the 1 cost Nami was a repeated card, right? It was the 1-drop Searcher from OP01. So you know what? You could be right. It could be 9 cost Sanji. That'd be kind of cool. We don't have a Sanji manga yet. Yeah, I just hope that we get the rest of the Straw Hat leaders. I feel that. Whoops. Drop that. Yeah. All right, chat. Let's go into the top 4 match. So top 4 here, it looks like Rayleigh is still in the top 4. We've got, this is green purple Luffy. So green purple Luffy also in the top 4. Blue purple Luffy bounced, not in the top 4. You've got the green Zoro here, and then also the Kid. Or no, I'm sorry. This isn't Zoro. This is Law. I'm sorry. We just watched the Law win. So it looks like that this top 4 match at this point is going to be Rayleigh and Law. So Rayleigh's a really interesting one that I have really enjoyed watching. A lot of people, when Rayleigh was first announced, was super down on it. Said that this can't be a good deck, right? Not having cost 5 or more cards in your deck has to be bad. But the aggression that it has, very similar to a lot of the other aggressive decks, has made it pretty viable coming in OP12. And going up against Law, so another Law game is going to be nice, the deck that I've been playing as of late. We're going to see how this matchup goes. This might be a typical red versus green, yellow Law kind of match where, like, it's really difficult, right? It's just too aggressive. I could see this being too aggressive. Also, that guy's wearing a Pokemon shirt in the One Piece live stream. That's kind of interesting. The Rayleigh right here in their starting hand has that 0 cost Searcher as well as the Buggy and a Boa Hancock to round out the Searchers. 3 cost Sanji has kind of been a mainstay in this deck, right? One of the premier small bodies in the deck that gets powered up so easily on that your turn, being a 6,000 power character, is so viable to swing if it gets to stick onto the field. The Trafalgar Law has a couple searchers of his own with the 1-drop Luffy, 1-drop Perona, and also the Bonnie as well as a 1-cost Beige and a 7-cost Trafalgar Law at this point. So I would say that the Rayleigh probably has advantage, not only because I think that this is probably a winning matchup for the Rayleigh, but also because the Rayleigh just has a good hand, I think, at this point. Oh, no, Urban Ronin, what I was trying to say was, what I was originally going to say was, I think that the PRB 01 manga, the Nami, was a unique manga, and unique as in like a brand new card. But then I remember that Nami came in OP01, so that's why I'm saying, like, it It could be in there. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think one cost Nami had a rare in PRB, but I guess that might be all the jurisdiction that you need to be able to decide if you think Nami, or if you think the 9 cost Sanji leak manga rare in PRB02 is real or not. Because we know that the 9 cost Sanji is getting a reprint in the set because it's one of the secret rares, because they announced it in a magazine that it was that like 9 cost Zoro and the 9 cost Sanji were both in the set. They showed the base rarities. So it would not fit the same pattern as the 1-drop Nami, but does Bandai need to follow that pattern still? Like, who knows? It's so hard to tell. All right, the Rayleigh is going first, so I think probably a good spot for the Rayleigh. I think you probably want to go first, right? Have that odd curve, be able to play a character right away. The Buggy's going to be really good in this matchup with all of the different slash characters in the on the side of the green yellow law. So we'll go into this game. It looks like the Rayleigh going in now, playing that Buggy first. I think that's definitely what you want to do. Don't use the event as of yet. And going in, looking at that top 5, going to find an event. You've got 2 different options right here. You've got that hockey, is which they are going for at this point, as well as a King Kong Gatling in the top 5. But grabbing that hockey right there, and that hockey going to be in the hand, just going to pass, leaving that card upside down. There we go, bringing it right side up. And now the Law has a couple different options. You could go with Bonnie, right? If you go with the Bonnie, you would be able to force a swing going at one of the characters potentially, try to bait that out, but ends up using the Luffy. Does have that little 1-drop right there, so I am not fully familiar with what this 1-drop is. I believe it's a little blocker, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it's come in OP12, I think. But is going to grab that X-Drake. That X-Drake is going to go into hand, and the Perona is going to be looking for a slash character now to round out the turn. Yeah, the little 1-drop was, I'm sorry, it's OP12 Trafalgar Lamy, and so your turn on play up to one of your Trafalgar Law cards gets 2,000 power during the turn. So not a 1-drop blocker, my apologies. First time I've seen that card, really, I think, at least in the last couple weeks, but anyways, passing off the turn after grabbing those 2 and putting them in the hand. And so now the Silver's Rayleigh using the leader effect, revealing 2 event cards to gain plus 2,000 power on the Buggy, is going to go ahead and swing 5,000 power. And so this is kind of where the strength of the deck goes, right? Especially these 1 cost 3,000 power characters, you're going to be able to swing without any Dawn investment at all. And so using a Restand Law to counter out of that is going to go ahead and use the Searcher event to attach an active Dawn onto your Rayleigh. And look at that top 4 for a, I think it's an event or a red card of a cost of 3 or less, or 3 or more, and you add it to the hand. So goes ahead and adds that event, the same event, because it does have the ability to grab the itself. And so now the 5,000 power swing goes in at life, takes the first one. It's going to be a 2-cost Capone, and the Boa Hancock coming in. The Boa Hancock is going to help set up the hand a little bit more with that search. And then if they want to later in the game, could use its effect on the Activate main to get Dawn elsewhere. Does find 2 Luffys on this search. The Luffy's such a good card in this deck, and one of the reasons that Rayleigh is so strong in these first couple weeks of OP12 is going to go ahead and grab that, especially when you see 2, right? That's an instant grab per se, right? Because you don't know when you're going to be able to see another one. Now the Trafalgar Lawn on a 4 Dawn turn doesn't really have too many great options to do. Could go ahead and do like a Capone Beige Luffy search combo to blind flip the life at some point. Maybe put a character back in hand, right? One of these searches to be able to get 5 on the field. But you got to be really careful in these aggro red matchups of how much life you actually take, right, within the game. So is thinking about potentially using the Perona for a swing, I believe, because again, that buggy is just going to stick on in the game. And so if you go ahead and swing 3,000 power with this Perona at the buggy, you're going to be able to match that power and going to be able to force maybe a little bit of counter in hand, but no counter comes in, just lets that go. And so now swings 5,000 power at leader, is going to take the life, put it in hand, another one of those hockey events, and continues to do the searching. Green Yellow Law, typically the more times they get to search, the better odds that they have to win the game, and finds a Cavendish. Cavendish is going to be great in the next turn to be able to restand some Dawn and reutilized for this game. Is going to end out the turn with a Bonnie search. I do like this kind of double search play, especially since you were able to get that KO on the buggy. And so looking at that top 5, has a couple different options for Supernova characters. Has a Beige, might be nice to just build up the hand, grab another 2K right here. Or could go ahead and grab the X-Drake. I think probably the Capone is the best option. You may be able to, in the next turn, kind of set up your leader effect if you want to with the Capone, and it's just a nice 2K anyways. Probably a little bit more valuable than the X-Drake, I think, in the long run if you need to play that down. And so passes off the turn into the Rayleigh, draws a card right here. Is going to be another Boa Searcher, which is so nice to be able to find things like the Monkey D. Luffy, right? Grabs both events and Monkey D. Luffy cards, I believe. Yes, or red event. And so could potentially at this point, if they want to, go ahead and use the Observation Hockey, I think it's called, to go ahead and search, but uses the power boost on the Boa right now and attaches one to be able to, I think, swing at lead at this point. Maybe doesn't care about the different blockers on the field. Or I'm sorry, the different searchers. And so now swings 5,000 power over at lead. Is going to try to just take out cards of the hand. If the little searchers stay on the field, that's totally fine because they're probably not swinging too much, especially at this Boa. And the one thing about this hand, too, that you're starting to see as the Green-Yellow Law is the you've got a lot of bricks in, or you've got a couple bricks in hand that kind of make this a little bit awkward. You only have one 1K and a bunch of 2Ks in terms of your counter. And so showing this 2K right now really just says that you don't have too many great things to counter out with. So start building up right here. This Luffy, after revealing 2, is going to go ahead and play that Sanji down on the field, right? Plays a 3 cost or less. So the Sanji is a great combo, kind of the go-to combo, I would say, with this Luffy in terms of playing on the field and swings at life. Is going to go ahead and take this first one. Is going to be a Zeus 2K, which is a nice 2K to have. And so here on this turn, the Green-Yellow Law probably going to go ahead and play down this Cavendish. Finds another Perona to do some searching. Might go ahead and utilize that as well, especially because the Cavendish is going to be able to give you some Dawn, and you still have some Dawn for like Bonnie searching as well on top of that if you want. Yeah, the Boa, the 2-cost Boa is really, really good, right? Giving the 2 rested Dawn, attaching it to a leader or character synergizes really well with that Luffy, right? Because the Luffy has an ongoing effect that gains 2,000 power if you have on your board 2 or more attached Dawn. So the Boa kind of fulfills that really easily. It wouldn't surprise me if they go ahead and try to swing at this Boa right here. Or just eventually in this turn. Here's probably your best option, I would think, because Boa, 3,000 power base character, and all your little searchers are 2,000 power. But starts off with the Bonnie first, maybe just trying to think of different ideas, maybe trying to build up the hand a little bit more. Does find another 2K counter in the X-Drake. Has seen so many 2K counters in this game, I feel like. So what I imagine, I mean, they're probably still playing this Cavendish down on the field. They might try to do a certain thing where they use the leftover Dawn right as Cavendish restands to be able to swing at this Boa. You don't want the Boa to get that value of the reutilizing Dawn. So it ends up swinging at the Boa first on this one. So gets that knockout right there. Maybe is going to think about going 1-cost Beige, but you don't really have a good target for 1-cost Beige outside of this Cavendish. So maybe just going ahead, playing down the Cavendish and restanding to Dawn and using the Beige blocker, right, to put the Beige blocker down on the field so you're not taking as many swings in the coming turns, right? Not too many 2Ks coming out of the hand. So is going to go ahead and play over this Perona for that Beige to round out the turn. Passes it off. Does not want to utilize his leader effect at this point. So now the Rayleigh going to 7 Dawn, I believe, now is going to draw for turn. Plenty of events in the hand, especially, you know, these searching events. So attaches a active Dawn to the Rayleigh to look at the top 4. Is going to find an event or a 3-cost or higher type character. Does find another Luffy. That's the 3rd Luffy on these searches, so might go ahead and grab that, even if you don't have anything incredible to play off of it, right? Just the fact that you're going to have this Luffy on the field that is eventually going to be swinging for such high numbers is going to be so nice for you in the long con. So does use that leader effect to give plus 2,000 power to the Sanji. The Sanji now an 8,000 power character, right? For 3 Dawn, you effectively on your turn after it's played, make it an 8,000 power swing without any Dawn investment whatsoever. One of the reasons why it's so good, and one of the reasons why I would personally, if you want to play Rayleigh in 12, go get that Sanji right before everybody else does. Ends up taking that 8,000 power swing and puts it in the life, and now plays down the 4 for the 2nd Luffy in the hand, puts it on the field. Is going to reveal those 2 cards as well to get that Boa down on the field. And the Boa is going to have a nice search effect after putting a Rested Dawn on a character. So now with the Boa, you're going to be able to search for either a Luffy or event card. Probably going to be finding an event card, right? Because you know that 2 of your 4 Luffys are at the bottom of your deck. But there's the 4th one right there on that stack. So might be thinking about grabbing that Luffy to play in the next turn, because you're going to have to cycle your deck to get to those beginning Luffys, I feel like, at this point of the game. But there's some pretty good events in the hand as well. Ops for the Luffy, right? Swarming the field if they try to do a little bit of control on there to try to get rid of some of these bodies. We already saw them swing at the Boa. And now the Luffy, because it has 2 Dawn attached onto the field anywhere, it gains that extra 2,000 power. So that Luffy right now, I believe, is 7,000 power, even with 1 attached Dawn, right? And so uses the observation hockey event to be able to search the deck right now, and after attaching 1 Dawn onto the Rayleigh, does have a little bit to look at. You do have to grab either 1 event or a 3-cost or higher character. Has a couple different options. Actually, every single option is available, and grabs the Kid Killer. Kid Killer, a really nice card in this deck, as we remember in maybe Trafalgar Law, right? When that was running around rampant in like OP7, kind of the OP8 meta in the East. Is a really strong finisher for the deck. And so the Boa Hancock that was played earlier is going to use its Activate Main effect to put the 2 Dawn on the Luffy. And so with the 3 Dawn and plus 2,000 on that ongoing condition, is going to make it a 9,000 power swing that prompts the block from the Beige. And so now uses 1 more of the observation hockey. I like this observation hockey, right? The couple of these that we utilize, because you were probably going to put the Dawn on the Rayleigh anyways, so you might as well go ahead and search for some different events or characters in your deck. And so grabs that hockey event, right? Armen hockey on there, and goes ahead and swings 8,000 power, I believe, at this point. So the judge trying to rotate the deck right there. So now at 0 life, passes off the turn, is going to have to play some blockers, I feel like, at this point, or clear some bodies. You know that Kid Killer is in the hand, and the Rayleigh going into a 9 Dawn turn. So especially when they're only playing these small bodies on the field, you know that a rush character can get played down on the field and then plenty of Dawn attached to it. But as the counter a lot of times to red decks, use this Captain Kidd coming down. And even though it's only an 8 Dawn turn, use this Captain Kidd with that Cavendish is going to be able to restand 2 Dawn as this Cavendish swings at the Sanji to restand 2 Dawn and be able to utilize that Kidd effect. And so does get that KO right there, gets rid of the Sanji, and the Sanji on KO effect draws 1 card. Now the leader is going ahead and swinging 6,000 power. So the 6,000 power swing is going to go at the Luffy, I believe. I think matching 6,000 power at this point. Or went to lead, actually, and is going to go ahead and take the life. Maybe a potential trigger right here. Some of the triggers that this deck can run that we've seen are something like King Kong Gatling, the Gum Gum Mole Pistol, right, which could be viable. And it looks like it was the Gum Gum Mole Pistol, but not very valuable in this because there's no other swings left coming into this game. And so now with the Useless Captain Kidd effect, is going to go ahead after resting itself, play that 2-drop blocker, right? That 2-drop blocker that came in OP12. Kyoshiro is very nice as a little chum blocker. The ongoing effect that it has of if a slash type character is KO'd or is a 5 cost or less and is KO'd by an effect, you can rest that character instead. It's not really relevant in this matchup specifically. It's a very good card that has been added to this deck that has been utilized for plenty of different ones, especially with all the removal cards in the game. And so now the Mole Pistol comes down after revealing the 2 event cards to boost up the Luffy. The Mole Pistol is going to minus the Useless Captain Kidd and then KO the chum blocker. So now this Useless Captain Kidd sitting at, I believe, 3,000 power at this point is just going to be a weak little guy right here, as now the Luffy goes in and is about to swing, right? There's a boost of 2,000 power, not only from the leader effect, but also the condition that Luffy has. So this is a quick math, I think a 9,000 power swing right here. So the 9,000 power swing at Kidd could opt to save it, but there's too many more swings that are coming in, I feel like, at this point. I think it's best to just leave this, and so you have so much counter in hand. What you should do is just try to counter out of these different swings. And so here comes the Armen Haki that's coming in, attaches an active Dawn, gives the Silver Rayleigh an extra 1,000 power. Here's an 8,000 power swing now coming in. Is just a nice 2K to get out of here. And so there is, or 2K, I'm sorry. I think I got the math wrong on that. Maybe it was swinging at the Cavendish on the 2K, actually. Just try to clear that Cavendish off the field. Because if you clear the Cavendish on the field, you're not really worried about losing or really any other swings. So now, swing 7,000 power, I believe, on this Luffy. Still has 1 Dawn left. I think maybe the judge clarifying on which Luffy got the power and which one did not in terms of the leader effect. And that's one thing that you have to really be aware of, especially if you have a Silver's Rayleigh matchup, I would say. And so there goes 2K. So maybe that was actually the boosted Luffy, right? In there, because that would have been, let's see, that would have been 9,000 power. So 2K would be able to get you out of that. And you need the blocker, right? Because the blocker of the Kirishiro is so nice to just be able to get you to live at this point. And so those Luffys on the field, because of the ongoing condition, are still 6,000 power characters. So the Cavendish, if they go ahead and swing with it, just bare bones, right? No Dawn attached, is just going to be a little 1K to get out of that. So maybe going ahead and using the Bonnie search just to find something like a Capone Beige, right? Be able to find another blocker to put out onto the field. maybe another 2K as well. There is a Capone Beige right there that you can grab, that nice 2-drop that is so good to be able to protect your board, but as well have a nice little cheap chum blocker onto the field. Yeah, the Gates, it's so hard to be able to tell what the actual power is because they don't use markers. And I'm not fluent in Japanese, so I can't really like hear sometimes what it is. Yo, what's up, DJ? How are you, Miles? What's up, Gigante? How are you? And so goes in now, plays the 7-drop loss. So the 7-drop loss, especially with 2 Dawn left, is going to combo well with your Capone Beige. Decides to just put the Luffy in life. And here's the thing. Giving yourself, not really thinking about your leader effect, but giving yourself the ability to be able to heal a life as well as maybe put a blocker on the field can work out for you so well in the long run of this game. And so goes in now, swings 7,000 power at the Luffy, who's sitting at 6,000 power, I believe. And so goes at that Luffy, I think, brings up 2 Mordon. Is just going to be, I think, a 7-7 at these Luffys, try to get them off of the field. And also the event going on right there is going to give that Luffy 2,000 power for the battle and all the opponent's leaders and characters minus 1,000 power for the turn. So this Trafalgar Law is actually going to be swinging 6,000 power now at the Luffy, which a 1K counter counters out of because that Luffy was sitting at 6K. So is going to go ahead and play the Capone Beige and pass off the turn. Right? Pass off the turn. Is going to use leader effect, actually. And this is something that you do have to get used to with Trafalgar Law, right? And something that is not necessarily intuitive. You saw him pick up that Luffy character right there. That's not necessarily to use leader effect as in like to cheat out a character from the life, right? We know that we can't play that character from the life, or that we don't want to play that character from the life. That leader effect is really just to get an extra 1K counter in hand right here. So the Silvers Rayleigh now looking like they are probably going to win this game. I think with the Kid Killer in hand and a full 10 Dawn turn is going to start out if they just go at face. A lot of 2Ks have been committed. You probably think that they don't have any more 2Ks left at this point in the match. So now swings 6,000 power at lead. I don't think they did the 2 events reveal. I might have missed it if they did. But is going to swing 6,000 power now after attaching 2 Dawn to the Rayleigh to give it that 2K power boost. And so a 1K gets him to 7 and is kind of telling of the rest of the hand at this point. So uses the leader effect to give it to the Luffy, is now going to swing could be 8,000 power with the Luffy, could be 7,000 power with the Rayleigh. Don't think it really matters since you have the Kid Killer, but swings with the Luffy first is going to prompt a block from this Law. And so now the Rayleigh swinging 7,000 power at lead is going to go ahead, take that life, and the Kid Killer coming down and the rest of the Dawn being attached. Oh, 2 Kid Killers. They got 2 Kid Killers. It's just going to be a 7-7 with only 3 cards in hand. Is going to be able to get the match, and Silver's Rayleigh moving on to the finals of this one. Definitely, I feel like was exactly kind of how I expected it, right? With the aggression, especially in the early game of the Silvers Rayleigh. Trafalgar Law doesn't necessarily do well against a lot of early aggressive decks, especially the kind of slow mid-range setup decks that we've got in the format right now in OP11, right in the West, and OP12 as well, right? Because Betty is popular. Bello Betty actually was not popular in the overall population. It was not in the top 15 decks, I think, in terms of population. Whew, that's tough. That's tough, but definitely an interesting game, right? Definitely a difficult one, and one that you probably need to look out for if you're trying to local meta game, right? If you have a lot of Silvers Rayleighs or Zuros or Bello Bettys heading into a tournament, you probably don't want to bring Trafalgar Law because they can just run you right over. Ooh. Should have killed the 4K Luffy to save the Dawn for event counter. I think it's pretty difficult to KO that Luffy, right? Because that Luffy wasn't a 4K, it was a 6K because of its ongoing effect gill. And he had plenty of different counter events, right? He had Conqueror's Hockey that was in there that is basically like a minus 1,000 power that you can use for free, right? Even if, you're not giving the power to the Silver's Rayleigh, right? That plus 2,000, you're giving the minus 1,000 power to one of all of your opponent's leaders and characters, as well as having the Armen Hockey, right? Or actually, Armen Hockey doesn't even work because that also gives to Silver's Rayleigh. I would have to see what was in the hand then. What was in the hand totally when he was going to swing? So at the start of the turn, so here's 3 Armen Hockeys, so that's minus 3,000 power. And then here's a 1K right here. And then this Silver's Rayleigh. The Silver's Rayleigh also only gives power to the Silver's Rayleigh. So what's your best bet? I mean, you still have to play down some guys because if you don't, you just lose. He's playing 7-cost Law to put a life back because he knows that he has Key Killer in hand. I don't think there was really a good spot for this green yellow Law. I think once this Kid Killer was revealed, it was kind of all over. Because if this guy stayed a 4,000 power character, then I could totally understand maybe like going a little bit more aggressive into there. But there's 6,000 powers, so you have to add Dawn to your Trafalgar Law just to be able to match it, and then the Cavendish as well, has to do it as on top of that. Because the Dawn, you could argue that you could save one of the Dawn as a counter event, but I don't think the math really changes anything for you. Like going in your next turn, because these definitely live, right? If you just go like 6 and 6, you have 1, 1, 1, 3. Yeah, I mean you were still destroyed because they had 2 Kid Killers in hand. I don't even think that event could have saved you, because you could have gone like 8 for the first one. You could have gone 8 for the first one, but then you can only match 7 for the second one. Yeah, so this Luffy, if you don't know, if you have the ongoing effect that this Luffy has right here, let me pull it up on Eggman. That'd probably be a little bit easier to explain. This Luffy right here, the ongoing effect that it has, so it's on your turn and it's also on your opponent's turn. If you have a total of 2 or more given Dawn cards, this character gains 2,000 power, and this attached Dawn cards is not just the Luffy. It is anywhere on the field. So in this screenshot right here, right, you have 2 attached Dawn on the field. These Luffys are now both 6K power. The Dawn doesn't have to be attached to them. So that's why I think like he was kind of just like a sitting duck anyways. because you have plenty of Dawn that is attached, but you just don't have enough firepower going in right here because you haven't been able to build up the board of like 5-cost characters or anything like that. Like he literally just played his first 7-cost Law in the game. The game was not very long at all. Just the aggression. So like if it was 4,000 power, I could see going that route, but because these are both 6Ks when there's the 2 attached on the defensive side, he was toast. He was absolutely toast. You need him for your starter deck 21 Luffy deck? I bet he rocks in the starter deck 21 Luffy deck, right? He has to. Because he can play out. I mean, he can cheat out a character on board. He can cheat out like Rush Zoro or the 3-cost Sanji that we saw in this game. or maybe the 2-cost Sanji, or maybe like another Searcher. And then also like the attached Dawn, which actually probably synergizes really well with your leader effect, right? Because you do 1 Dawn on the leader, and then you can put 2 Dawn somewhere. So there, boom, is your 2,000 boost to that Luffy. Yeah, he's probably really good in the starter deck 21 Luffy deck if you were going to build it. I would love to see a build with him because he's super easy to search, right? Because he's a Straw Hat Crew, he's red, and he's a 4-cost. Yeah, he's probably cracked in that deck. He's probably absolutely crazy. All right, let me get to a cool screenshot, chat. Let's look at the gold carrot card. Actually, what's the... Oh, yeah, let's look at the God Usopp card. Well, let's look at... I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, so I'm going to put you on a cool still screen. Show us the gold. Show us the gold. Ah, there it is. Chat, one of the new PRB Dawn, the Luffy. Or I'm sorry, that's not Luffy. That's Usopp. Chat, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go to the bathroom real quick. I am going to force an advertisement on Twitch and YouTube just so then you guys don't get it potentially in the middle of the finals match because we'll commentate over the finals here in a second. Or actually, you know what? What I'll do? What's the segment that they start showcasing the Dawn? Yeah, I might just play this for you. I'm just going to play this for you. So then you can see the Dawn if you haven't seen them already. Anyways, I'll be right back. Hello. Oh yeah, no sound. I've had the stream muted the whole time. Because one thing that I'm afraid of, I forgot like my little headphones, but if I play it over the the speakers, I'm afraid that it'll get picked up on the mic. Because I truthfully haven't set up like a system to where like the noise that's coming literally right at me on the mic. So yeah, we've just been doing the usual commentary. We've just been doing the usual commentary. Yo, what up, Calvin? How are you, friend? Bonnie, what's good? The Lucci Dawn. No, Raphael, no news about Cavendish being reprinted, unfortunately. Ooh, white chocolate strawberry sounds so good right now. Next live stream, I plan to be a little bit more prepared. I kind of threw this together. The other day. Or I'm sorry, not the other day. It was literally like 30 minutes before stream. But yeah, I'll probably stream tomorrow because we'll do more of the tournaments tomorrow. Oh, I need to figure out what this says. What does it say? Let's see. Let me go to... I want to see what this says, chat, before we do anything else. File, save. Just save it as the desktop. Google Translate. Do you think Bon Clay will be in PRBO2? I hope so. I hope so. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, there's still secret rares if they go the same amount as they did in PRBO1 on reprinting like secret rares, then there's still a spot open for him to be in there. But it's super hard to tell, I think. Oh. This is just a little thing that says like his different moves and what gear it's from. That's really interesting. Spoilers, I guess, if you're not far enough in the anime. Huh, I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. No wonder I didn't see anybody post it. Do you think Gum Gum Giant will get a manga? I think that would be the first event that they would give a manga to. But I don't actually think they would, because they've given the alternate arts to the events since what was it, OP10? OP10? So I don't think they would do that. It just like it just feels weird, I think, to like suddenly give a new rarity when there is a new rarity itself, right? Cavendish is too strong. That's why it needs a reprint, so it could be cheaper. All right, Chad, let's get this finals match going. Let me check my Discord first for Sean, because we're going to do the Metapod. We're going to do the Metapod. Oh, also, DJ Miles, I'll talk to you later about that, if you're still here. It's either him, 09 Luffy, 02 Uta, Kaido, and Lin Lin. Hopefully it's not the last two, and that EBO2 SP means no two SEC purple Luffys. There weren't two SEC purple Luffys in PRBO1, so I will agree with you that I don't think there will be two in the set. I don't think 9-cost Rush... Well, I mean, just because it has an SP, though, doesn't mean that it's going to be like a main set secret rare, right? So I could see PRB having the 9-cost secret rare in the set because the EBO2 one is only a SP. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Bon Clay's in there. I don't know if Gum Gum Giant's getting banned. At least not yet. Oh, the official channel? Oh, I don't have this in the description. Shoot. That's my bad, chat. I'll put it in chat right now. I'll give you guys the official link for the live stream if you guys want to watch it. There you go. I forgot to do that earlier. But the official channel, if you... I'll also copy this. I'll copy this and then you just paste it. Oops, this can be deleted. If you just type that, if you copy and paste that, you'll be able to find the channel. No worries, Ninjax. I usually always have these in the description, but I forgot to do that in my spur of trying to go live today. No, Jinbei was not in the Dofi starter deck. It was not Nev Nev. There has not been official word, Hunter Spike, of bans. There has not been any official word of ban announcements incoming or scheduled or anything like that. There was a Jinbei in the starter deck. It was the 4-cost promo one that let me show you. It was this one. This one got put in the starter deck, but that's not the one that got banned. No, this is what I was referring to. This one did not get put in the starter deck, but this one did. This promo, which was, I think, pretty good for a little bit until this one came out. Then it wasn't good anymore. Ban Gaimon. Yeah, ban Gaimon. What is that guy doing? Like, seriously, can't get out of the chest? Ban him. Wait, Gum Gum Giant was in a... Oh, it was in the starter deck, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, it was in the Blue Purple Luffy starter deck. I didn't even think about that. I hope so, Christian. They know how to reach out to me. And I've done it before. I've done it with Eggman before. It helps now that I'm available on weekends. I've not seen anyone run that Gecko. Although you might be able to, because like we're in an aggressive meta that doesn't have too much removal. So you could in theory run it. Right? Just get really aggressive. All right, chat, let's get into this one. It's Silver's Rayleigh in the finals, right? We watched it win the top 4 of this tournament. What is it going to be going up against in this one? I genuinely don't know, chat. What's it gonna be up against? Silver's Rayleigh being able to, after revealing the 2 events, can give a 4,000 power or less character plus 2,000 power is so strong to be able to get that new boost on these different characters. It's going up against Eustace Captain Kidd, so we'll see if Eustace Captain Kidd, right, being able to give things blocker, right, be able to have so much blockers on the field, right? You've got the Scratchman of Pooh, right? The 1 cost, that's a nice little chum blocker for you. You got really any Supernova character with a cost of 3 to 8 can become a blocker. And so how much are you going to be able to do at this stage of the game? Especially because Eustace Captain Kidd can have some removal cards too, right? Some burn cards in the deck. How are those sticky bodies going to be able to affect this matchup in the long run? You've got the Rayleigh with a pretty okay hand. I think it's pretty good, I think, in the long run. I would have liked some earlier game, at least turn 1 or turn 2, like searching going on. But you have the Luffy and the whatchamacallit combo, the Sanji combo, right, to be able to play. You also have that 2-drop Sanji from OP12, which is pretty good in something like the Enel matchup, right? To be able to have the early game, not be able to be starved as easily. And so probably could be good against Kid in this matchup, right? Force them to pop their blockers more often. So now you have Kid, right? You've got that Scratchman Apu blocker. Also a couple Kiku Nojo. So Kiku Nojo is an interesting card in here, right? Does have that trigger body to be able to play down onto the field, but just like the Basil Hawkins has that on KO effect, but instead of burning one of your opponent's life, you actually get to gain a life in the matchup. So going to be really interesting, especially with this 7-cost law as well. The longer the game goes on, I feel like the Kid probably hits better and better right within this matchup, but it's one that I definitely haven't tested. I haven't seen it get an alternate art Phenos, but I do know that it's getting reprinted. Okay, looks like Rayleigh's going first. I think Katakuri is really interesting because Katakuri is one of the best cards. It was definitely like the best card in OP11. And so here we go, Rayleigh coming in, 1 Dawn turn, just passing it off. No searcher event, no searches of any kind like Buggy, Nami, or the Observation Hockey. And so now moving in for the Kid is just going to go ahead and play that 1-drop Scratchman Apu. Even though the Scratchman Apu is not a blocker yet, right? In order to gain blocker, you have to have another yellow Supernova character other than Scratchman Apu. It is going to be nice to set up earlier against a deck that doesn't necessarily have a ton of removal, right, to be able to really threaten in the later stages of this game. The 5K swing is going to hit on this one, is going to be a 2-drop Capone Beige blocker, and so the 3-cost Sanji coming down on curve. Need to play bodies down on the field, just go ahead, get that Sanji. If they try to remove it, right, you're going to get that on KO effect of drawing a card, and it's going to be an 8,000 power swing potentially in the next turn, especially if you can find another event off of that Buggy. The Kid is going to draw a Luffy and go ahead and play it, that 1-drop, to find another Scratchman Apu. And so now the Scratchman Apu that's on the field does have another yellow Supernova in that 1-drop Luffy, so he is going to be a blocker. And so now you can go ahead and play like the 1-drop Apu and 2-drop Beige, right, to get 2 more blockers on the field, have 3 in total for these upcoming swings. And so rest 2 Dawn for that Capone, like I mentioned, and actually just passes off the turn, leaves 1 Dawn open, does not want to play that Scratchman Apu at this point in the game, probably leaving it for a little bit of counter, because if you remember on Kiku Nojo and the 7-cost Trafalgar Law, they don't have counter on them. So really you're just sitting with a 1K counter Scratchman Apu and a 1K counter Basil Hawkins is his name. The Rayleigh going in with the Buggy to start off the turn is looking for an event. Once they find an event, they can go ahead and use their leader effect, which is going to be very, very nice. And so is going to find that Observation Hockey in the deck. Is going to be a nice searcher to be able to utilize, right, to be able to fill up your hand a little bit more, maybe for the Luffy, but you can also find a red event card if you want. So not using it right now, really just going for the Luffy at this point to swarm the field. Is going to go ahead, use that on play effect of the Luffy to play down the Boa that they found on the top deck. So the Boa is going to be really nice after attaching that 1 Dawn, the Boa going in and searching for a Luffy or red event. Does find a red event, but also another Luffy. So really it's going to depend on what you've got in the hand and how much you want to value this like swarm factor. We've seen a lot of times on this Rayleigh throughout the tournament, right, in the top 4 round and also this round, that he has prioritized the Luffy extremely, and he does it yet again. And so now 6K swing coming in right here is going to go ahead and take a life. Typical kind of yellow things of like leaving the blockers on the field and blocking really when you have to, when your opponent's trying to go for lethal at the point. And so now goes ahead and boosts with the leader effect. The Sanjian swings 8,000 power, just going to take another life, build up the hand. Finds a lot of non-counter in the 7-cost Law and 8-cost Eustace Captain Kidd. Is going to be a little bit of big bodies that can help later in the game, but not necessarily in this mid game at this point when you haven't really taken any life or anything like that. So attaching 1 Dawn, looks like maybe swinging with this Luffy right here, trying to utilize it in this game, is going to swing at this Sanji and really try to gauge of how much counter maybe in this Rayleigh's hand. They're going to let that go and get that on play draw 1 effect. And now the leader, if they want to, can go ahead and swing at lead. So still has 5 Dawn left to work with. Is going to go ahead and maybe do a Scratchman Apu and, or no, not Scratchman Apu, I'm sorry, Kiku Nojo as Aura. Yeah, actually Scratchman Apu. So they've found 3 Scratchman Apus so far in the game. And so goes ahead, plays those blockers like I was talking about. Gets that Kiku Nojo on the field. The Kiku Nojo is going to be really nice to be able to potentially heal life, kind of swing 6,000 power at these different bodies on the field, right? A lot of these bodies, you know, they don't get to keep the Silver's Rayleigh boost in terms of power. So it's really a max of like 6,000 power on the defensive side on that Luffy. So you're going to be able to do it without pulling up any Dawn or anything like that. And so now the Boa going ahead, swinging at this Luffy, is going to go ahead and counter out and save this Luffy, right? Wants to force another swing coming at this little guy right here. The Luffy is going to be able to battle stuff like the Buggy and the Boa, right, for just a 1 Dawn investment. So it might actually be decently valuable to get off of the field. The Observation Hockey, I would say, after using it and attaching 1 Dawn onto the Silver's Rayleigh, is going to find a 3-cost Sanji to be able to combo off with this 4-cost Luffy that you've got in your hand. Definitely one that you really love to see at this stage of the game. Playing back-to-back Luffys for these different characters can bode well for you in the long run. And so attaching 2 Dawn to this Buggy might just go ahead and swing with this Buggy right here. And swing at lead, I believe, is going to be a raw 5,000 power. And so the 1K the Basil Hawkins is going to go ahead and prompt the counter out. And so now swinging with the Luffy, I think 6,000 power takes the life. Another Luffy coming down onto the field finds a Katakuri in the life. And so Katakuri not really going to help you, I think, at this stage of the game. A lot of non-counter events, 6 cards and no counter. Looks like the Rayleigh, after fulfilling that swing on the leader, might be kind of the telltale of the game. The Rayleigh might run away with this one by a long shot with no counter, because you only have a certain amount of blockers left in this game. But can the something like the Trafalgar Law, right, be able to maybe heal? No, you can't actually heal with the Trafalgar Law. You don't have a Supernova in your deck. And so now swings at the Boa Hancock, is going to get that KO off the Kiku Nojo, just try to clear the board a little bit. The Trafalgar Law comes putting, it's just a Supernova character. I always kind of think that the Trafalgar Law can only put like the 5-cost characters in there. I keep forgetting that it's just a Supernova character. Anyways, puts another 7-cost Law in the life to gain 1, and then goes ahead, swings and KOs that Buggy. The Trafalgar Law is going to go ahead and be revealed off the top of that life in order to give blocker to one of your Supernova characters. I believe the other 7-cost on the field based off of Eustace Captain Kidd's leader effect. And so 3 blockers down onto the field right now. Has 1 Dawn up for that Gum Gum Pistol Red Hawk, which is going to be nice. And so now the Sanji, I believe, swinging 7,000 power. I believe there was no reveal as of yet. And so that Pistol Red Hawk is going to be able to get out of the swing and go to 8, especially with these 1-cost events that we're starting to see that are 3,000 power. Makes me feel like 7,000 power is not necessarily as good of a number as it has been in the past in the One Piece trading card game. Very interesting to see, especially in this tournament in the last couple weeks. And so swinging then looks like, I believe it was another 7,000 power with that. Luffy is going to take that life, and now was another 7,000 power swing coming at lead. Maybe thinking about playing the Kid Killer down on the field. Just try to whittle away these blockers in a sense. And now the 2 cards going in with the events to use off leader effect to boost up the Luffy. Puts it now at, I believe, 8,000 power with the different attached Dawn, making it a 6. And the boost from the leader on 8. Goes ahead and plays Kid Killer. So has a 8/8 kind of set of swings if they want to try to go that route. Maybe leave 1 Dawn open. I'm not sure. Anyways, the first 8 takes a life. The second 8 going in is going to prompt a block and passing off the turn. Still at 5 life. And the Useless Captain Kid at 0 does have the Trafalgar Law, but you're going to need a couple more blockers, I think, to get out of this slew of swings. The good news is you can start swinging at stuff like the Kiku Nojo, or I'm sorry, you can use the Kiku Nojo to swing. You can use the Trafalgar Law 7 cost to swing, but it looks like it's going to be a very difficult spot for this Useless Captain Kid at this point. So full 10 Dawn, what do you do? I think you probably want to play the Trafalgar Law that you've got in your hand, right? Just to be able to maybe heal up a life or something like that. But starts out 7,000 power on the swing. Those Luffy's still being 6,000 power. Thinking about going 2K 2K at this point. So 2K 2K on 7. Maybe just getting out of a leader swing at that point, or maybe swinging at the Kid Killer. I forgot where they were swinging. But either way gets out of that one. And so now with 9 Dawn left in this one, you could do kind of the same sort of system where you play down the Trafalgar Law, the 7 cost, and just put another Trafalgar Law 7 cost in life. You still have a little bit of Dawn to be able to use for that other Gum Gum Pistol Red Hawk that you have in hand, and the 2K. And I don't know if you'd be able to... You might be able to get out of the turn, but you're still in such a tricky situation, right, with all these different characters on the field. So what's the best route at this point? I mean, I think it's probably, like I mentioned, just like giving yourself a life. Also, trying to clear out this board, right? Get rid of the Kid Killer, because that's kind of the... Is the Kid Killer the most dangerous, or is it the Luffy, right? Because Kid Killer, when it swings 7, but Luffy with 2 attached Dawn swings 8,000 power with Rayleigh Leader effect. Probably the Kid Killer is more valuable to get rid of. And so now swinging the Luffy onto the Sanji is going to go ahead and take the knockout, draw 1 card. Maybe looking for like another Kid Killer or Rush. The 7 cost Law coming down onto the field is going to go ahead and leave 1 Dawn open for the event that you've got in hand. Putting in... You probably should just put in... I guess you could put in the Kid. I mean, I don't think it really matters. You're really only putting in bricks. You don't want to put in your 2K. You don't have any, like, impactful triggers, I think. So puts the Trafalgar Law in the hand, and so puts the Rested Dawn on the Kid and swings now at the Luffy. is just going to be that hockey event to minus 1,000 the entire board. And so now giving the blocker to that Trafalgar Law is going to be 2 blockers on the field with 1 life and 1 2K in hand, as well as a counter event. So now starts off maybe this 1 cost right here, trying to look for Nami. The Nami would be able, as they're showing, to find like Mole Pistol, could also find a 3 cost Zoro, right, to get really aggressive and try to really push game with a rush character. Does not find either of those, right? Can't grab the observation hockey, so maybe just grabbing the Sanji at this point. Just tries to get a little bit of counter the 2K in hand. Definitely a whiff that you don't want to see if you're the Silver's Rayleigh player. Because right now, what's your go-to? You can't win on this turn. But at this point, you're just trying not to get starved out, right? Especially with these yellow decks. You're trying to pressure, you're trying to get game, but not lose all of your resources, right? Because as soon as you lose your resources, you're going to get hit 4 times at life. He's definitely chilling at 5 life, but it's one of those things that I think can go sideways pretty fast if you're not careful. But he's in such a good position now, attaching this 4 Dawn and swinging 9, that these Luffys now are sitting at 6 each. You can clear a couple bodies from the blockers, right? I don't know if you necessarily have lethal at this point, but you're definitely whittling down the Eustace Captain Kidd's resources in general. Might be thinking about playing this 2-cost Sanji down on the field. It kind of forces the Eustace Captain Kidd to have a little bit of removal, right? So goes ahead, plays the Sanji. Is just going to pass off the turn, so not swinging with the Luffys at all. Very interesting. Maybe just saying like, okay, play that 7 costs down and let's just kind of cycle the game at this point. Force you to swing at my life. Force me to maybe find a rush character. Does end up finding Zeus. Can't necessarily... I mean, I guess you could play Zeus. I don't think that would be a great idea, though. Yo, what's up, Code Red Pirate? How are you, friend? Yo, Stiff, what's good? I think as the kid, you're like a sitting duck right now. The Rayleigh just has too much life going on. I think you could maybe think about at this point just using the 0 cost event to minus 1,000 the entire board. I don't think it would really matter too much, but ends up taking the life. I was going to say maybe try to get out of that swing real quick. Finds an observation hockey, which could be a nice searcher in the next turn, right? Find potentially Kid Killer. Because you're running, I think, a couple copies in this list. We saw multiple copies in that last round. Ends up taking that life. It's going to be a buggy. The 9K swing now coming in, taking that life. Again, there's the Kid Killer. And so now just taking multiple life right now. And the 7 cost law coming, or the 8 cost? No, 7 cost law, yeah, because we attached 1 to the Kiku Nojo. 7 cost law now coming on is going to be able to attach... or I'm sorry, put a card in the life, going to be that X-Drake right there. Nice 2K because you have another 2K in hand, and attached on to lead just because, and then reveal that 1 life to get the blocker Trafalgar Law. So 2 blockers, plenty in hand. Let's see if it's good. So there's the 2 events. Using the leader effect pushes up the Luffy to 6,000 power. So going to be using that Gum Gum Jet Gatling, I believe it's called. So that's going to be nice. That's going to be an extra power boost, right? That King Kong Gatling officially is going to be able to give 4,000 power, right, to this Luffy, make it an 8,000 power character at this point. So one Luffy, I believe, is 6,000. Another one being 8,000 right now. Is going to go ahead and use that Sanji effect to take a life, make that Sanji, give it 2 Rested Dawn to 7,000 power, is now going to boost 2 more thousand for these Luffys. So one Luffy is sitting at 8,000 power. Another Luffy after that +4 is sitting at 10,000 power. So I believe this is a 10,000 power swing with that. Luffy is going to block with the Beige. This is why we really need tokens. So attaches 1 Dawn onto the Rayleigh because of the Armament Hockey, I believe it's called. Is going to give an extra 1,000 power to the Rayleigh. So I believe the Rayleigh now is at 7,000 power with 1 attached Dawn. The Sanji now swinging 7,000 power at lead. Does still have that 1 event, could get out of it. Does not have a lot of counter. One of the things that Edgar, as you're saying, I kind of agree with. If they left the kid in life instead of the X-Drake, maybe try to feint that they have a lot of counter in hand, right? Because you're like, oh, I put an X-Drake in there. Maybe try to get them to try to go for board a little bit. But I think the Rayleigh, 9 times out of 10 at this point, just has to go for lethal. And so now, after that observation hockey, is going to grab another King Kong Gun Gatling. So now that King Kong Gun Gatling is going to be some powerful swings coming in. And you could actually, can you give that to leader? Yeah, one of your leader characters you can give that extra plus 4,000 power to, or the 1-drop Nami that's on the field. Although I think the 1-drop Nami was played in this turn, I think, so can't actually do that. So does have to think about where he wants to give the Dawn, right? Looks like he's going to be giving it to the Luffy. So now this Luffy with the at 8,000 power is now 12,000 power. But decides to swing with the Rayleigh first at 8,000 power because we got the 1,000 power earlier with the Armament Hockey, and now the 2 Dawn attached is going to be a little bit more than just the pistol Red Hawk that was swung with. Or that is in the hand that you can utilize with the Dawn. So ends up taking that card right there. No blockers out on the field. So I think you're just all inning now with this Luffy at this point, right? I do see a Kid Killer in hand, I think. So maybe he's thinking about if it's more valuable to go Kid Killer or just swing with the Luffy. I think the Luffy with 4 Dawn, that's 16,000 counter, right? And so giving that Red Hawk and the 2Ks, nothing else in hand, the Rayleigh is going to win that one. I was pretty sure the Rayleigh was going to go in with that win, but especially when it's so hard to see like the different markers and stuff in that one. Definitely one thing that is so strong, right? This Monkey D Luffy combo, along with stuff like the 3-cost Sanji, the 2-cost Boa, right? Getting these extra characters on the field and boosting up so much of their power is so good within the game. Definitely a good one to see. The kid made a couple interesting plays, but I think just this kind of middle of the game portion where he just had so much non-counter in the hand really just was the end game for him, right? Was really his demise in this one because you can't, as they're swinging like 6, 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, you can't counter very easily because you just don't have a lot of counter in hand. Yeah, I think the Rayleigh's like a really fun red deck. I mean, I haven't put out a market watch video yet. I will soon of like the different cards that I'm seeing in the OP12 meta that you should be getting and stuff like that, and maybe some of the reveals that we've seen and stuff like that. But I think the 3-cost Sanji, make sure that you have the 3-cost Sanji in your decks because I think that card is definitely going to be so good, right, within the game. And especially the Rayleigh deck, right? Right now it's like not super expensive, I think. Sanji. Well, that's the alternate Sanji. I don't want the alternate Sanji. I want the regular Sanji. Oh my gosh, is it under $5? It is. Like, it's only $4 right now. This card used to be so much more. Look, like $13. So I would definitely get these if you don't have a playset of them. If you want to play Rayleigh. Yo, what up, Sky Knight? Yeah, so this is the new studio, Sky Knight. So if you do not know, chat, if you go !T1 or on Twitch, if you go !T1, or in the YouTube chat, if you go to the pinned message, we do have a new studio over at Tier 1 Games. And so Tier 1 Games, you can get your singles on TCG Player on their account. I don't know if it was bad counter. I think it's like, I don't know if you can get out of the swings. If he countered with Red Hawk versus Leader swing, he wouldn't have died, right? I'm not too familiar with the new cards. So the Leader swung 8,000 power, chat. That's one thing. So you need the Pistol Red Hawk plus something else, because this is 3,000 power. The Silver's Rayleigh, even though it has 2 attached on, is an 8,000 power, because we saw earlier in the game, we saw that extra 1K boost with the Armament Hockey, I believe it was. So just the Red Hawk doesn't get out of the swing, right? What did he counter out with exactly? So I mean, I believe this is an 8,000 power swing. And so ends up taking the life. So I guess maybe like he could have gone like here and here, right? And he still would have had 1 life left. I mean, he was cooked no matter what, because like he swings with this guy that's just a wee lad right here, right? And so then he takes the life and he has only 2K counter in hand. And then with this 4 Dawn, here comes Kid Killer. Kid Killer comes in, swings 7, and you only have 7 to match it. Oh, Gregory, it's in the pinned message. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Nene Quest? Yeah, I think he loses like basically no matter what. I think he, in all honesty, like putting the X-Drake in life, I think he's really just trying to feint, right? I think he's kind of seeing the writing on the wall, but he's trying to like feint his play of like, oh, I have a lot of counter in hand to like force him to make a mistake, because this was Rayleigh's game to lose. Yeah, Martin, like, sure, he can counter out of it, but he still loses to this swing here and then the Kid Killer that he's got in hand. Yeah, he was just bricked so early. It was just unfortunate with that. Yeah, it's not a 7K swing. There was an Armament Hockey that gave him, or is it Armament Hockey? Let me see the right word. I believe it's the Armament Hockey. Yeah, the Armament Hockey that he used earlier gives us plus 1,000 power to his Silver's Rayleigh. So he put it on Leader because he doesn't have any more. I don't know what you're talking about, DX. Yo, Guy97, thanks for following on Twitch. Appreciate it. Oh, the new CS? So I don't know when the next championship is. I know that Hiroshima, this was this past weekend. I don't know when the next one is. Usually I see because I get a notification like that they post this, like the live stream. I would assume it's maybe this upcoming weekend because we're in the phase where they're doing them like back to back to back to back to back weekends. But as soon as I know, I'll let you guys know, either in the Discord or I'll do like I'll post it on Twitter. I'll do a community post on YouTube. But Chat, I think actually that's all I'm going to do today. I know I wanted to try the Hong Kong Championship, but we've been going 3 hours, first of all, so it's a pretty decent size stream. But also, I don't know if you can tell, I'm doing a little bit of like the coughing, like with the throat, and I got to record the Metapod podcast tonight. So I want to try to be good to go for the Metapod later today. They don't have the starter decks in the East yet? Would that matter, though? I think Rayleigh would be a fine deck. I think Rayleigh would be fine. Right? Because you still have blue, purple, and green, purple Luffy's running around. Because the starter decks are good, but I don't think they changed. They've changed the meta a decent amount, right? Like, wait, let's pull up the Eggman. I mean, there was some good stuff and there was some viable stuff, right? Like Bonnie really showed out this weekend, really surprised me. But Bonnie was still like prevalent in Bonnie is still like a decent deck in 12, and it was a decent deck still in 11 even without the starter decks, cuz it counters this guy right here. Purple Luffy is honestly on the decline because of the starter decks. Purple Luffy was like debatably the second best deck in OP11, I feel like. And it's definitely fallen off in OP12. Teach definitely got better. JCM is just JCM. Purple Black Luffy definitely good. This Luffy though is crazy. This is crazy. Purple Black or Black Yellow Luffy meta again. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sure, Buggy. The Buggy is viable, but I mean it had okay. Buggy has had as many top 8s as Newgate. Sure, Rayleigh can struggle against Buggy, but does that matter to Rayleigh? Because honestly, if I'm Rayleigh, like, if I'm looking at this, if I beat these two decks and I have a pretty fair percentage into like Bello Betty, like other aggro decks, maybe I do well against Teach or whatever, I don't care about Buggy. I don't care. Like, sure, I'll take a loss to Buggy if that means that I can beat Blue Purple Luffy, Green Purple Luffy, Bello Betty, Bonnie. Like, no, Rayleigh doesn't care about Buggy. Buggy hit her until I die. Because, yeah, like in a meta like this, right, chat? Here's something that a lot of people just don't understand. Like, they look at a deck like Rayleigh and they say, like, oh my God, Rayleigh just loses to Buggy. Don't play the deck. Whatever. The meta is so wide, right? The meta is so wide. There's so many decks that you can play within these events in this format that you have to choose who you're going to lose to, right? You cannot build a deck that just beats everything, right? Even Blue Purple Luffy, which I think is the best deck in the format, right, still loses to Bello Betty, right? Every deck has to lose to something, and so it's playing the deck and choosing what you're going to lose to. If Silver's Rayleigh loses to Buggy and that's its really only auto loss in the tournament, I love Rayleigh then. You know? I agree that Buggy's going to get better, Kioma. I know I meme on Buggy a lot, and I'm Buggy's #1 hater content creator, I feel like. But I do agree that Buggy will probably get better as the format goes on because we'll get more testing, we'll get more matches, we'll get more builds, right? We'll see it go better, but it's never going to be as good as Green Purple Luffy. It's never going to be as good as Blue Purple Luffy. It's never going to be as good as Bello Betty. And I would wage to say that it's not going to reach the same size as like Bonnie or Marshall D. Teach. Because Marshall D. Teach had a pretty good weekend, I feel like, in Vegas. I think it'll be like the same level as like... It'll probably just be the best out of this like It'll probably be the best out of this best of the rest tier almost. That's where I think Buggy's kind of ceiling is right now. I don't see it like beating these 3 decks. And by beating these 3 decks, I mean like in overall meta popularity and success, right? I know you probably have a pretty decent matchup in Betty. But I'm talking about like a holistic kind of thing. Yeah, like if you start, like, to your point, Phonos, if you're Silver Israeli and you're like, oh my god, I auto lose to Buggy, and you try to tech really hard for Buggy, the more that you tech for Buggy, the more that you're going to start losing these other matchups. And a lot of times that's just not worth it, you know? It's just not worth it. Because you could just not face the deck. I mean, I played Green Yellow Law, right, in the Vegas Regional, and I did not see a Teach all day. Which I think Teach had probably a pretty decent population. I think this is just top 16. This is just the top 32, I'm sorry. But I would assume that Teach probably had a pretty decent representation. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the meta. That's my thoughts on Buggy, my updated thoughts. I still want to try to put out a video on it, but I have to reformat my thoughts on the video. I have to really think about what I want to do and how I want to do it. But yeah, we'll see. We've got plenty more weekends of tournaments. We've got more this weekend and stuff like that we can look at and evaluate, and it's going to be interesting. So chat, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who came out today for this stream. Had a ton of fun on this one. Looking to do more in the near future, so stay tuned on the videos tab. Stay tuned in our Discord server, right? Link in the description below, or !Discord on Twitch, and more of that. We'll get more stuff here soon. The stream went really well. No drop frames, so shout out to the owners over here that are sitting behind me in the store for getting good internet, and we'll see you later, chat.